justice. Why do we fight? We fight to secure and preserve our.
Hey everyone, it's been a while since I did one of these. It is Saturday, May 3rd, 2025. How's everybody doing out there today? Before I join Alec Nava in progress, who's going to get set to get underway here in a couple minutes, let me give you the starting lineups for this Game 7 of the Western Conference first round. Jared Bednar on the Colorado Avalanche, 49, 29, and 4 to the regular season, third in the Central. Headlined by Nathan MacKinnon, Artturi, Lehkonen, Marty Necas, Devon, Cale, Makar, Brock Nelson, Gabe Landeskog, Valnichuskin, with Sam Girard and Josh Manson. Charlie Coyle, Jarrell Kiviranta, and Jonathan Drouin, with Ryan Lindgren and Sam Malinsky. Fourth line is Jack Drury, Parker Kelly, and Logan O'Connor. Mackenzie Blackwood will be the goaltender of record. For the Dallas Stars, it sounds like this. They were 50, 26, and 6 on the season, second in the Central. This 2-3 matchup. There's a coin flip, and as I said, in between Tampa and Florida, it's going to be hard to pick between that. My Lightning are out, and it's not really mine because I'm a Red Wings fan, but that was one of my picks to play the Avalanche in the final. And these 2-3s can be killers, and we'll see if the Avalanche can advance today or if the Dallas Stars will move on. Head coach by Peter DeBoer, who is undefeated in Game 7. He's 8-0 as a coach. Rope Hintz, Mikael Granlund, Mikko Rantanen with Thomas Harley and Ilya Lyubushkin. It's Matt Duchene, Mason Marchman, Tyler Seguin, and Thus Lindell and Cody Ceci. Wyatt Johnston, Jay Bennett, Evgeny Dodonov, Sam Steele, Oscar Beck, Colin Blackwell will be the fourth line side in the mix of Leon Bischel and Alexander Petrovich. Jake Ottinger will get the start in net tonight per usual. It'll be the same goaltending pair that it's been through Game 1 since Alec and I started all the way through Game 7. So let me give you a little bit of a just a respite as far as Games 1 through 6, and then I'll join Alec in progress. So Colorado won Game 1 5-1. Nathan MacKinnon, 2 goals, assists, 3 points, plus 7 shots on goal. Blackwood was 23 of 24 in net. Dallas, Rope Hintz had a goal. Again, Rope Hintz made it a 1-goal game a little bit later into that third period before Colorado blew it open. And then Dallas took the next couple in OT, as these teams have done very well at home and on the road. Dallas won Game 2 4-3 in overtime. Colin Blackwell was the unlikely winner for the OT GWG. Sagan, Dodonov, Harley all scored as well. Ottinger 34 of 37. Logan O'Connor had a goal and assist for 2 points. He's been pretty good in this series. Game 3, Dallas won 2-1 in overtime. Dallas tied the game in the third. Ben power play goal on a tip, and Sagan, beautiful OT GWG on a pass from Marchman in the slot. Ottinger got the win as he stopped 27 of 28. But this is where things started to not be as close anymore. All these last few feel like that. If you're relatively new to UFC, I don't follow it all that much, but relatively new to slap, which can be barbaric, but that's what it kind of felt between Games 4, 5, and 6. Colorado won Game 4, 4-0. Gabe Landeskog 1-1 and 2 with a +2, 3 shots on goal. Moves up to the second line and scores for the first time since the 2022 Stanley Cup Finals when Cooper and I covered that in over the Tampa Bay Lightning. First shutout of the series as Blackwood stopped all 23 shots. Ottinger pulled after 2 periods. He was terrific, though, as he saved 31 of 34 and kept the game anywhere close at 3-0 at the time. Ottinger wasn't his fault. Game 5, Dallas won 6-2 with complete domination for the Stars. Quick goals. Rantanen, 3 points, goal, 2 assists, 6 shots. Scores for the first time in this series. And Wyatt Johnston, 2 goals, assists, 3 points, plus 2 breakout. Ottinger excellent again as he stopped 26 of 28, but Blackwood was pummeled as he was pulled after 2 in 13 of 18 performance. Not very good. In Game 6, Colorado dominated. That was the most recent heading into this Game 7. 4 goals for the Stars. In the second, they had the lead 4-3, but the Avalanche did about that. They scored 4 of their own in the third. Rope Hintz was phenomenal. 2 goals, 2 assists, 4 points, 5 shots on goal. Ilya Lyubushkin and Wyatt Johnston were awful. -5. Ottinger 41 of 46 in the losses. The Avalanche continued to pummel shots. Blackwood just 22 of 26, but did get the win. Valnichuskin scored twice. Cale Makar got his first of the series in the best game, goal, 2 assists, 3 points, plus 6 shots. And Nathan MacKinnon, goal, 2 assists, 3 points. He scored again, and he's got his 6th goal of the series. Heading into Game 7, DeBoer is 8-0. Bednar's 0-3, all at the Avalanche. Colorado has not won a Game 7 since 2002. 7 straight losses for the Avs. Tonight, if they do so, would set an NHL record. And the Avalanche don't want that. It's time to change that. I think they'll do so tonight. I'm not just saying that as my personal pick, but that is my thought process going across the board. I know the Stars have been strong at home, but the Abs, they can't continue to lose in round one. It's like they lost to the Seattle Kraken a couple seasons ago. Let's join Alec here in progress before we get started.
Artturi, MacKinnon, Marty Necas, Gabriel Landeskog, Brock Nelson, Barry Nichushkin, Donovan Drury, Charlie Coyle, Joel Kivaranta, Arthur Kelly, Jack Drury, Logan O'Connor is the forward core. Devon Toews and Game 3, Michael Granlund, Ruben Hens, Mikko Rantanen, Mason Marchment, Matt Duchesne, Tyler Seguin, Jamie Benn, Wyatt Johnson, Evgeny Dadonov, Oscar Bach, Sam Steele, Colin Blackbow, the defense corps, Thomas Harley, Ilya Labushkin, Ezra Lindell, Cody Ceci, Liam Bishop, and Alex Petrovic. Jake Ottinger, the starter. Casey Smith is the backup. John, it is the two best awards in sports, Game 7, and Denver sports fans are a little nervous because not only are the Nuggets playing right now, the Avalanche are getting set to play at Dallas. So I guess Denver sports fans don't know which one to tune into unless they have a multi-TV screen.
Yeah, it's kind of tough for them over the last few seasons, isn't it? Because Denver is no stranger to the Nuggets for Game 7, neither are the Avalanche. It's a half hour apart, and you're exactly right. So there's going to be a lot to get to. I'm just so privileged and happy to be back in time for this, Bill, to join you. The last time we were able to work together fully was in Game 1, where the Avalanche absolutely dominated. Game 6, they did the same thing, but in between that, a couple OT wins for the Dallas Stars, a little bit unlikely heroes, but Games 4, 5, and 6, Alec, I know I don't follow the UFC very much, but it looked like a slap contest back and forth. These games have been bloodbaths.
Yeah, they have been. It's back and forth bloodbath between the two teams. The home team coming on top in each one of these bloodbaths from games 4 to 6. Landeskog making his grand return in game 4. Dallas answering back in game 5. And in game 6, the score was actually tighter before the empty netters from Josh Manson and Cale Makar. In fact, it's the first goal that Makar scored all series in game 6. 5 points, which by his standards is a little disappointing, but he's still third among defensemen in points in the playoffs.
I was going to say that I'm glad that you brought that up because, again, you look on the other side for Nathan MacKinnon. He's got 6 in this series, and we're going to play a deciding Game 7 to see who moves on. But I was going to make that point about Cale Makar. Point totals look good. I don't disagree with you there, but I do think Cale Makar needs to play his best game because there's been times, in my opinion, not only been able to watch some of the stuff on YouTube with the trial and all that during the time. It's been tough since I've been away for a couple of weeks, but Cale Makar needs to find a way to get on the goal sheet maybe a couple more times tonight just to give the Avs a little bit of breathing room. Again, as you mentioned, they haven't won a Game 7 since 2002. Jared Bednar is 0-3, all with the Avs. The Boers 8-0. I think the Avs will break the curse tonight. I know the time and logic and everything else is not on my side, but at some point, you and I don't need to have the conversation anymore why the Avs can't win a Game 7. They're too talented not to do so.
Yeah, all the talent is there for them. They're too talented to go home early here in the playoffs. So are the Stars, but for the Avalanche, it still feels strange enough that they won a Stanley Cup in this time span, yet they haven't won a Game 7 since the years of Joe Sakic. The last time they did so, they took out Patrick Marleau's Sharks.
And the Sharks have always been a pain in the you-know-what for a lot of other teams like that. It's not going to be, I don't think, too much longer until we start to see them percolate with all the draft picks and Mike Greer and things like that. I know I already got some votes here on the YouTube side say the Stars close out the series. And I know I guess I shouldn't be impressed by what the Stars are doing because they're the 2C for the reason, but they've still been without Jason Robertson and Miro Heiskanen throughout the entire series. They will not play again today. And Dallas has been able to fight the Avalanche all the way through the end. Were they the favorite considering what the 2 out? I don't know. But as they continue to get rest, if the Stars do advance, they're going to be very dangerous. I happen to think, Alec, I'll mention this. I know the Lightning are no longer available because the Cats pretty much took them out big time in 5 games. But I mentioned between 2 and 3 between the Cats, the Lightning, the Stars, and the Avalanche that I picked the Avalanche and the Lightning. But the 2-3 can be highly irregular to predict. But I will say this, if the Dallas Stars make it and they finish this up, I think they're going to go to the Stanley Cup Finals.
You know, I can agree with that sentiment. If the Stars do make it out of this matchup, I think they go all the way to the final. Who knows who the final result is going to be? But once we go back to Makar, He's the best defenseman in the NHL. However, it feels strange to see that he didn't score a goal until Game 6 of the series, and he holds himself to high standards. He says that he had to be a lot better ahead of Game 6. Well, he was technically a lot better. But what's strange enough, Makar has never recorded a point in Game 7s.
That just doesn't make any sense for as good as he is. Again, you and I didn't have the privilege of being able to watch Bobby Orr, but you have the comparisons for Cale Makar, offense, defense. Honestly, not sure what he does better, and that's just how good he is. And for him to not even have a point, considering how many the Avalanche have played. I know they don't have Mikko Rantanen this time along, as he's still a member with the Stars. Mikko Rantanen, we can talk about him. He's been playing much better of late, as Gabe Landeskog is getting the interview for Emily Kaplan. But he's absolutely right. He's got to be better, and he's going to be the ones I take a big eye on today for Cale Makar, because if he doesn't have a good game, Avalanche probably don't advance.
Yeah, that's you mentioned, Rantanen, because he has 7 points in his last 2 games.
Yeah.
He's been more comfortable in DeBoer's system and is getting acclimated to his system that suits him better.
Yes, he is. I know we already got a comment on the side. Thank you, OT. He said Game 7s are great, and this matchup has everything a fan could want. Hell, that's why Alec and I are covering this. We know Game 7 in between the Clippers and Nuggets. Alec, I'm going to make no bones about that. I would love to cover that one as well, but if I have to flip a coin in between these two, I just can't take my eyes away from the Avs and Stars.
Me neither. Even though these two games are captivating for many reasons, the Clippers with their defense, the Nuggets with their offense, the Stars and Avalanche, it offers a complete package all around.
I got to also tell you this, as we're in a little bit of the pregame here. We got about another 8 minutes or so. Alec's going to get set to kick us off. I'll take the second, probably split the third. I want to close it, but if Alec wants to take it, then he can. And then if it goes to OT, Alec's going to have the leeway of that. And we might get an OT game. Who knows? Hopefully, I would think Alec get a game that's probably closer than anywhere between 4, 5, and 6, because we talk about the amount of goals. It's been a slobber knocker on that side. But I do have to mention, you're going to have some sweaty knuckles tomorrow, my friend, because you have another Game 7 on hand in between the Rockets and the Warriors.
Oh, I'm glad you brought that up. I thought we were done after Game 4 because of all those tight matchups, that the Warriors have the more talented roster, that the Rockets, they're too young, they're too inexperienced. Well, inexperienced or not, if we're going to go down, we're going to go out swinging. And that's why we push it to a Game 7 with the defense that we put on a masterclass of a fourth quarter defensively in Game 6. When you take out free throws and the garbage time points that the Warriors scored, we held the Warriors to 7 points and meaningful and points that count for any meaning minus free throws.
That's incredible. And again, for a team like the Warriors, you end up adding Jimmy Butler. You still got Steph Curry over there. You already know the core. Same thing for the Rockets as well. It's not an easy thing to do. There's going to be a pair of Game 7s, just like essentially we got today. We're going to get that tomorrow because the Blues absolutely housed the Jets. And again, I have been away from some of this stuff. I know Alec's been able to cover a little bit more, but Mark Scheifele still out. And the Jets now, all of a sudden, with injury concerns, and the Blues were already hot coming in. I know the home team has not yet lost the game, but I still feel like the Blues can find a way to take out the Jets tomorrow. What say you?
Even though the home team has yet to lose a game in this series, there's that growing feeling inside me. The Jets have won many close games. The Jets have won all 3 of their games in close games at home. The Blues won all of their games in blowouts at home. So that might say a little something here. If it's either going to be a blowout or a close game, I think either way, there's a part of me that says the Blues are going to win Game 7. They chased Hellebuyck out of the net in all 3 of those games at Enterprise Center, which is strange to think about, but that's the reality we're living in. That Hellebuyck is seeing his save percentage go down worse and worse in the last 3 years in the postseason. Very strange to think about. This is the same guy who allowed 2 goals in all of the round robin at the Four Nations faceoff.
Yeah, he was really good there in front of him. He's still got a really good team in front of him now. And Alec, if the Jets don't come through and lose to the Blues, it would not be a surprise between you and I, because we said the Blues were so hot coming into. That was probably one of the most dangerous matchups that you could have, even though considering the Blues were in the wild card, how hot they were down the stretch. But if Connor Hellebuyck yet again does not find a way to get his team throughout the first round, it's so Jekyll and Hyde, because in the regular season, we know he's probably winning another Vezina. Do the Jets even have to entertain carrying another goalie, maybe just to play some playoff games for Connor Hellebuyck? I know that sounds insane, but he's got to be better.
Yeah. He has to be better in games that matter a lot, because he's lost his last 7 playoff road games. It's strange to think about that he struggled on the road, and the last time he's won a playoff road game, 2023 against Vegas.
Ouch. Yeah, that's not good considering where it is. And again, this will also have significant ties, as Alec and I will get said probably another 5 minutes or so. We'll call this first period. And between the Stars and Avalanche, as we're at American Airlines, their next opponent will be the winner of the Jets and Blues. Now, if the Avalanche do advance, I was going to grit my teeth in terms of an Avalanche Blues matchup. I think that could be a lot of fun. But even if we do get the mix of the Blues and Stars, I'll take that as well. I do think the Stars can find a way to go ahead and get to the final, but if the Avalanche and Blues play each other, those are two teams, Alec, that know each other quite well. I think that could be a long series.
I have the feeling it's going to be a long series, too, between the Avs and Blues. Whoever comes out that Western Conference, it's going to come down to the wire, and I think the Blues would be a more enticing matchup for either one of these two teams.
That's where I'm leaning to as well, and I know Ian's going to have some sweaty palms and thinking about that tomorrow. I do want to ask you this. The Golden Knights and the Oilers finish off their series, but I want to go with the latter. I know Jim Hiller just got there, and I know I got to mention to you a little bit through the first period a couple of games ago for the Avs and Stars, but Jim Hiller, if he has another series like that and a catastrophic brain fart as far as the challenge, he might find himself fired next year.
We're really convinced that this year is going to be different for the Kings, but man, the goal was already reviewed once in Game 3. It was for a kick, and if it was ruled that Kane kicked it right to his stick, and he played with his stick, there was no goaltender interference on the play. But it would challenge it for was the kicking motion. But that was a Hail Mary that was intercepted and returned for a pick 6. The momentum died from there for the Kings. What a disaster for LA and Jim Hiller. Not to mention that you don't play the fourth line a lot of minutes for that series. In Game 4, you limited 3 of your skaters to 230 or less of ice time. One of them being a defenseman that you replaced Jordan Spence with. What in the world was this coaching job?
I don't know. And whatever Jim Hiller decided to do or to change between the postseason did not work. You mentioned that as the Stars making their way out on the ice will begin the anthems in a second. But one other point that I wanted to make, and that goes right into yours, is Paul Bissonnette. He mentioned the TOI as far as the time on ice. And it was really balanced for the Oilers up and down. And that's what you got to have. You got to have 4 lines and some decors working. Goaltending matters as well. But the 4 lines you got to play because you got 40, 45-second shift max effort. And the Kings, I think, gassed themselves, Alec, in comparison to some bad coaching. And they cost themselves a series in which they were up to nothing.
Yeah, you have to prioritize that. For as top-heavy as people think the Oilers are, the Kings operate at a true top-heavy pace. They're giving a lot of minutes to the top 3 lines. They basically exhausted all but the forwards and the top 2 defensive cores. And it really took them out of the rhythm. Game 5 saw that when they could not get anything towards Calvin Pickard, of all people. They forced Darcy Kemper to be Superman in this series, and it bit them dearly. Ouch.
Yes, and as Dallas, we're going to get set up for the anthems. I'm going to say prediction time, Alec. I'm going to leave it to you, but I will say this. I do think the Avs will break the curse today. I know there's a lot of stuff that doesn't go my way as far as that, but I'm going to say 3-2 Avalanche, they advance.
So yeah, this is going to be a low-scoring game similar to what it was in the previous Stars Game 7s. That Jake Oettinger likes to show up when Game 7 arrives. In those games, he's allowed a total of 5 goals his career, 1 each in the last 2 seasons. And even though it's 3 of them in the first Game 7 that he's played, he made 64 saves in that game against Calgary.
Yeah.
So that's a good point to take. And while Colorado, they peppered Dallas last game, they need to continue this energy heading into Game 7. This is going to be a tight one. I think it's going to end with, like you said, a 3-2 victory for the Avalanche. I'll have it go to overtime for that matter.
All right, so we're both taking the Avs 3-2. He's going OT. I'm going regulation. So we're both taking the Avs. We'll see if we end up right here, because I just don't see how the Avalanche can continue to lose Game 7s. But for the Dallas Stars, let's pound home this point again. Still without Robertson and Heiskanen. They've played so brilliantly throughout this series. And now Mikko Rantanen over the last couple games really has percolated. He's moved himself back on the top line. He's looked like the guy over the last couple of games that the Avalanche had for a long time under Makar and Nathan MacKinnon. Marty Necas, also another one of those that they're still going to have to look on. Alec knows him well from Carolina. I think he would need to play well. Valnichuskin has had a couple of good games here. But I want to see Jake Ottinger, I still think, has the edge over Mackenzie Blackwood. Can Mackenzie Blackwood play well enough to keep his team in the game? That's what I want to see today.
It's Blackwood's first ever Game 7, so the pressure's on him to deliver here for Colorado. We're not expecting Jake Ottinger carry job for Blackwood, but having to be serviceable enough in front of this defense. He's a good goaltender. Can he outduel his counterpart is the question. But we don't expect him to be better than Ottinger. We just wanted to have a good enough game for Colorado to win this one, knowing the team in front of him.
Yeah, drive the offense, as you said. If they can find a way to take any of that stuff from Ball Arena and push that into American Airlines, it's going to be good. So Mackenzie Blackwood, 3-3, 265, 899 save percentage in a shutout. As Alec mentioned, his first career Game 7. As he gets set to get the equipment on, Alec's going to get set to take it away from us. I'll take the second. I'm looking forward to this. I am so excited to be back in the booth with you. Let's have some fun.
Yes, we know about Jake Ottinger. Let's have some fun. So 154 GAA for Ottinger with 956 save percentage. That grew to 64 saves in Game 7 against Calgary 3 years ago in the Western Conference quarterfinals. The head slides out there for the Stars. There's Granlund and Rantanen. I like to call it the finish line because it's all Vince on the top line for the Stars. Meanwhile, we got Rantanen's former teammate Gabe Landeskog. And here we go. Winner will face either Winnipeg or St. Louis in the Western Conference semifinals. One-timer off the bat. There was an open net at the front for Nichushkin, and Landeskog finished it out that. And the Stars come back the other way. Winner will go to either St. Louis, either Winnipeg, or stay here to host St. Louis. Brock Nelson from his own end at the near half boards. Brandon is there as everyone stands up. Brandon's in the front, and that one missed hits. Holding it is Labushkin. That one blocked it tight. Out the far half boards, this gets cleared down the ice, and it will be iced for a first whistle.
I know we're checking this one out on ABC today, but it is good just to see the banner across the blue line of the Stanley Cup playoffs moniker, because I get tired of seeing the other ads on the TV screens.
While they roll on digitally, it's nice to see the return to Stanley Cup playoff banners right across, because that's been a staple of playoff hockey in the NHL and NBC years.
Thank you for that, and I'm glad you agree, because I get tired of seeing all the other ads.
Yeah. Referees for tonight are Wes McCauley and Dan O'Rourke, linesman Scott Cherry and Kyle Murchison, as Landeskog sends it in, and the Avalanche will make their first change of Game 7. The Lindell pairing is out there for Dallas, and the Stars get pickpocketed with the Duchesne line, but they still carried it in. Slapped away, but it's right up to the stick of Sagan. The Bontays is right there to guard the passing lane, and the Avs would go up 2-on-2. David MacKinnon, he's going to be dangerous. Drop pass, Necas fires, stopped by Ottinger to rebound. Could not be picked up by Necas, and is fired down the ice. Lehkonen will beat out Dadonov at the far corner. Makar arrives there to pick it up. Right behind Blackwood with the Stars pressuring. He's moving up with Necas to his left. Makar fires around the far side. It'll be collected up at the left point by Dadonov, where he is tied up by Parker Kelly. Take it up, and Labushkin fends off Kelly. Thomas Harley's out there as well. And this is why Johnson up the far side for Dadonov. Dadonov almost dispossesses the puck. Keeps a hold of it at the right point. Fed around to the far half boards and dropping it back for Petrovic. And now at the left side is Adonov. Back for Petrovic. Delay penalty against the Avs here. So the Stars will head to the power play first. Johnson will fend this one off far corner, and then setting up at Gretzky's office. It is, I believe, can't get a number on it. And then back over to Nico Rantanen. At center place, Harley. Spun around for Ben. Rantanen, the extra attacker, is out there. Rantanen cycles around back to the point. Harley, deep shot. And that one fouled out by Blackwood. Almost taken up by the Avs. And now it is. Sam Olinsky touches up. The Stars will head to a man up.
That is not what you want if you're the Avs to start this one on the road. There was a lot of momentum, a lot of speed here. Parker Kelly going to go to the box.
So the fourth line has been one of the most consistent lines for the Avalanche here throughout this series. But here he sort of hooks his man Ilya Lyubushkin, who holds him back, and he falls down to his knees while playing that. That's a no-no, and that's going to put the Stars to the man advantage.
So Ilya Lyubushkin and Wyatt Johnston were -5 in the last game. We're not going to see anything like that tonight.
We don't imagine so, and that's an uncharacteristic game for the both of them, knowing that Johnson has a penchant for scoring in the clutch, and Lyubushkin's more of a stay-at-home defender. Harley is the power play quarterback, driving the right point. At the Shane. This one went up high and down low as Rantanen tried to chop away at this one. Held inside by Harley, fed for Duchesne. He wants to end Colorado's season a second straight year after he did so last year in double overtime. Rantanen sets up back to the point for Harley, and then gets the feed right back. On the right circle, Zephyr Johnston gets tied up on the shot by Makar. Rantanen scoops it up on his former team when he delivers a ping. Harley, back for Rantanen, sets up at the top of the right circle, overskated, but gets it back. Harley goes down, shot double deflection, and almost makes way to the net as hits had the last touch, and just right by Harley's stick, or rather Duchesne's or Rantanen's, and they'll get this one inside. Blackwood sticks away. Benson wants to get out, but he's tied up. Driven back into the near half, pours Duchesne, gets tied up. Harley on the key. Cross-ice pass a little too far. Johnson able to hold it. Rantanen back behind that. Heads can't tap it home. Lindgren is all tied up. Henson Johnson on the key. Rantanen behind the net. They go Rantanen setting up in front. That pass was blocked. He'll get it back. So got back, and that pass was missed entirely. And the Stars power play 5-19 this series. In the regular season, they were 4-9 against Colorado. Those numbers don't seem real. Sagan will move it up for Granlund. Granlund up the near side. Gets slowed down on the entry. Behind the net, Toews. Marchment holds at the far half boards. Drops it back for Lindell. Then back over to the far corner was Granlund, who's all tied up. Marchment can't get a stick on the puck initially. Now he picks it up. All the way back is Ben. One-timer Lindell. And Blackwood got a piece. Granlund behind the net, kicks it out. But way out of position was Ben to try to hold it. 10 seconds on the power play. Ben makes the pass. He'll move inside himself. Feeds it back Granlund with Lehkonen on him. Back for Ben. And the touch pass doesn't work. Cody sees he tries one. Blocked in front. And that'll end the power play. Parker Kelly's out the box. He has to break if he wants to, but the Stars have a stick go over that one. Fire back around the far side. With 15:35 to go in the first period, and we have another stoppage.
Oh my goodness, that was such a good power play for Dallas, even though they didn't score. Excellent work and behind the net by the Moose. Harley shot this one, a double deflection, but a chance before that gets cleared off of Colorado bodies. Parker Kelly, which is maybe a shade and a half. If you could have got that pass, you could have had a breakaway.
And too many Stars right behind the passer that was looking to go up for Kelly. But that was the shot that prevented that breakaway. As MacKinnon both start on Colin Blackwell. Now get Sam Steele to take this base out. But that was a great chance for Parker Kelly had it not been for that pass breaker right behind him. He had all day to shoot that. Face off won by Dallas, but Colorado quickly chops at the puck, and they'll stick it away from Steele. Moved up the far side to boards. Lehkonen deflected this one in. Auditor plays it out onto the near boards. Steele was there. Popped it up to center. The Avs taken away with Necas moving back. He gets covered at the offensive zone by Harley. Ouch! The Avs all over this puck at their own end, but Stars get it back inside. They hit a body in front, and the Avs don't think again. Gerard to Lindgren. What a presence the Stars blue line has had throughout the series. Josh Manson delivered the pain himself. The Stars trying to make the pay. Lee and Bishop, those are big hits in Game 5. Behind the net, it is Nichushkin, but Lyubushkin was in the way. Nichushkin on the hole, thanks to his teammate. And back around the near side, this is bumped around. Manson arrives at the near corner, tries to feed it behind the net. Lindell cut off the pass. Manson wants to hold, helped out by his teammate, and then up and around the force back behind the net. Nelson and Labushkin both went down to Jushin to help. Jamie Benn to cut that one off. One of the referees went down in that conundrum. Rossi's pass was picked up, and here's the Jushin cut off by Bishop as the Avs are going to get this driven towards the net, but can't as the Stars clear. That's the Coyle line out there for the Avs. Picked up by Girard's own end opposite Rantanen, former teammates against one another. On the far side, this is a cutoff from Joel Kiviranta, who led the Colorado season 5 years ago. Now he's on Colorado. Coyle centering pass. There was a tie-up that prevented that from going through. Here's Makar, who restarts all the way back. Rantanen's out there. Give a go between him and Girard. Makar waits. And now fans the pass as Michael Graham was there to break that one up and hit Stetson inside. Makar shuts it down, and here come the Avs. MacKinnon from Lehkonen. MacKinnon stops. He'll go back towards the high slot where Necas goes down. Necas spans on the shot. There seems to be a tie-up at the right circle. And Tyler Seguin sends it up for center. Back up front, and then going back with this is MacKinnon to restart with it. Takes a bounce off of Harley's stick. Seguin is 6-3 in his career Game 7s. 3 points in such categories. Won 3 of those Game 7s as a rookie with the Boston Bruins in 2011. Behind the net, Artturi Lehkonen prize at free. MacKinnon will pick this one up for Toews on a 2-on-2. Toews flips it onto the far corner where it is Oettinger playing this one out. Lindell, watched by partner Kelly, gives it to his partner Cody Ceci. Was on last year's Edmonton Oilers squad. Jack Drury cuts out the pass, and right behind the net, it is Kelly who will pick it up. Kelly sends this one inside, past O'Connor. Oettinger slows it down again. Lead Bishop. O'Connor gloves it down the near half boards. Can't get by Oscar back, and it's still a tie-up at the right circle. Both teams whacking at the puck relentlessly. Bishop got it away. Got it to Ceci. So we believe that Alex Petrovic is set to come back onto the ice soon enough because that's the line that Bishop prefers. He and Petrovic have developed chemistry with the Texas Stars in the AHL. But the near half boards is moved up the ice by Back, who was hounded by Landeskog. Boy, what a series he's having in such limited ice time in Game 3. Debuting the third line and moving up to the second line. Harley from his own end. The pass cut off by Colorado as he moved back inside. And up the high slot, Landeskog can't finish it as the Jushin was wide open the right circle. The Avs will get another opportunity again, and the Jushin moved it up at the near half boards and it's whacked up by the Donna and carried back inside by Ben for the Donna. Nice shot, bounced off a block with the rebound was wide for Johnson. There go Ben, that shot blocked. Johnson behind the net, controlling the pace on Molinski. Wide Johnson trying to look for a lane. Johnson, backhander, that may have hit Blackwood. And Jamie Benn trying to catch that one up and laying motionless on the ice is Bowery and Shushkin. They had taken it in up high.
He might have. Again, if you're a Dallas Stars fan, Alec, I think even though the shot board reads 2-2, you have to be ecstatic the way the Stars have played this game. They pushed the Colorado Avalanche all the way around. They've kept the puck in behind the net quite well. I think Dallas might be going to the box.
Yep, they are. It's going to be a penalty. It's a high stick on Jamie Benn.
That's a little bit unfortunate considering how well I think Dallas has played. They've had a lot of push in their own end, and Colorado's not been able to get some shots off. Marty Necas had to stick handle through a phone booth. Gabe Landeskog couldn't get a shot off. The Zebras are going to double check here whether to see if it's 4 or 2.
We're going to check here, but we do know that can either go as a high stick or cross-check against Ben. But it looked to me as if Ben cross-checked the Jushin right in the face. But either way, I wouldn't blame the officials for calling it a high stick because that was high and dangerous.
Yeah, against his former teammate. That one was definitely a penalty. If you got that one off the camera shot, it's clear as day. Let me look on the other side for the NBA scoreboard. Looks like the Nuggets have a 10-point lead that they're trying to bring into the half. 57-47 with 29 seconds left in the second quarter.
No, what we do know is that Denver, they blew a 20-point lead in last year's Game 7 against the Minnesota Timberwolves. Winner of this series will face the Oklahoma City Thunder in the West Semis. But shout out to the Clippers for forcing in Game 7 up against the Nuggets team that has been going a little bit of turmoil this year. for all the talk about shallow bench rotations, the Nuggets are utilizing a 7-man rotation right now. The Clippers on an 8-man rotation, but the Clippers, they have a stout defense that can hang with anyone. And Ivica Zubac with 12 rebounds in the first half. Kawhi Leonard's doing his usual thing, and James Harden, for those he may have been shutting off all the noise about him being a playoff choker, because I think that's overblown, those concerns.
Yeah, Harden's already got 10 assists with 7 points, and even Russell Westbrook for the Nuggets in 14 minutes has 10 points off the bench.
The energy, that's what's much needed for teams wanting to go for Westbrook. For people who want to say, why is Westbrook still in the NBA? His energy, his hustle, that's why he's still in the NBA.
It looks like Valnichuskin is getting a little bit of touch-up here to stop the bleeding. It's going to be a double minor.
I don't blame the officials for calling it a double minor on Jamie Benn, but it could go either way between that or a cross-check. But I think this was the right call to make. If it was a high stick, it had to be 4 because there was blood on the Chushkin. He got bloodied up at the lip.
I got to say this, Mr. Nava. I think this is a must score here for the Avs. You got to get one.
Yeah, because Colorado's power play hasn't been looking too good in this series. They need to score a power play goal in this 4-minute span. First faceoff is won by the Stars, and they'll clear it down the far side. And do remember, the Avalanche power play in this series, 3 of 19 and 1 for their last 14. That's for a 15.7 conversion rate. Ouch.
Yeah, not for a lineup this good. As Cale Makar trying to take it up the gut, lost it.
And it's a tie-up right in front of the slot. Oscar back tried to get this one down with help from Cody Ceci, but it's a good hold. Landeskog can't find MacKinnon, and by the time he did, they're already out of the zone. MacKinnon tries to side. MacKinnon fires this kick out by Oettinger. The first good chance by MacKinnon on Jake Oettinger, who's been excellent in Game 7. We just have a gut feeling that this would happen because Oettinger has a penchant for it coming up in the clutch in Game 7. It just can't get around rope hits. MacKinnon brings it back inside, gets tied up by Lindell. Bounced around the slot. Landeskog, Necas in front, can't find Lehkonen. Necas whips into Makar, who's in trouble with hits. MacKinnon at the left circle, has hits on his face. And from Landeskog, there was a tie from Lindell to prevent that from going all the way through. Excellent defense there. And last time around, there was excellent defense from Esa Lindell to prevent Artturi Lehkonen from scoring an overtime winner in the dying seconds of a 4-minute power play in Game 3. That defense was much needed. Drury at the near half board. Second unit is on. Toews gets it down low for Nelson and back for Drury. Donovan Drury moves up in the corner. Now back for Toews. Looks left side for Nichushkin. Toews again. The Stars being aggressive in the diamond shape on this penalty kill. Moves up and takes a bounce off of Arley's stick on the pass intended for Nichushkin. This is textbook penalty killing.
Yeah, you said it absolutely right, Alec. Again, we've had 6 games of bodies of work to look at in between the Avs. You know they want to find the offensive zone entry with speed and some quick passing, be able to open up stuff in the slot. That's not opened up here for the Stars. It's been textbook, as you said. Maybe they got to start taking some shots from deep, forcing some rebounds, do something else, give them a different look, and not have to defend the same way.
That's true, because Dallas's penalty kill has been all over Colorado's power play. For a power play that's this talented, you expect them to score more, but this Dallas PK has been showing its shining lights as they make another clear. And Blackwood will go out to play this. And MacKinnon's waiting for his turn. The top power play is back out there. He gets the feed from Makar. And then drop back for Necas. These two are speedy players. MacKinnon up the far side with back on his face. This bounced off of CC and out for Necas, back for MacKinnon. Moves up at the left circle. Looks back for Necas. Necas moves in. Rebound loose. And that one too kicked out by Oettinger on 2 saves. MacKinnon's on the hole. Now stuffing the Stars. Able to settle it down and send it down the distance. And Cody Ceci gets an applause from this Dallas crowd for that clear. Drop pass behind for Makar to MacKinnon. David MacKinnon moving up with speed. MacKinnon drops it for Necas at the near half boards. And all the way back for Makar. Has it been quickly as he does a half spin around Johnston. Sent it to the far side for MacKinnon. Spun around Hintz once and then back for Makar. Makar pump fakes, fires it, rebounded, not there. Makar able to hold it. Here's MacKinnon with Labushin closing in on him. MacKinnon shut off at the far corner. Lehkonen tried to pry this one free. It came out to him. Lehkonen got it back for Makar. Makar pass an outstretched dick. Landeskog. Lehkonen backhander. MacKinnon. And that was once again kicked out out by guess who? And here's it is over to the near half boards for Landeskog. Tried to chip it over for inches. It bounced up and over Makar's head. He'll glove it down to center ice. The Stars make a partial change. MacKinnon feeds it back for Landy. MacKinnon, 29, turn it over. And this could be a one-on-one break here for Granlund. One defender gets back. Granlund trying to address the defense. Toews was not buying it. 31 seconds left on the 4-minute power play. Brock Nelson leads the way up the middle for Charlie Coyle. Drop pass for Toews, who keeps it aside for Nelson. Coyle joining the board battle at the near corner. CC pokes the freeners up his stick, and oh my word! Valerie Nichushkin an open net. Here's Brock Nelson fires. Blue shot in front. It's still free. Right in front. Trollen is slipped away. Backhanded back to the point for Toews. Devon Toews, 5 seconds of the power play. Nelson holds it. The pass missed, and it's cleared out. The 4-minute penalty kill doing the job for Dallas as the crowd roars.
How did Nichushkin get so wide open, and how did he miss it? Because we seen a couple games ago when he absolutely undressed the defense and scored on a breakaway, but he just missed on an open net as the crowd rises to its feet.
And Marty Necas had a chance, but by the time that he was going to fire it far side, there was already going to be an offender that was closing up on the short side. As he carried the puck inside, Nichushkin was thinking the same thing. Shoot it far side. How in the world you missed that? I was the same logic. Post started to face up.
Yeah,
this game is everything.
It was right over the right corner boards. It was a beautiful pass. He gets wide open, just airmails it.
Shot is blocked right off the faceoff, and Dallas will pick it up. 5 scoring chances to Dallas' 1. Already Avalanche as Jamie Benn gets tied up right around the net where it's picked up now by the Avs. Moved up the far side or on the near side. Outstretched pass from Drury to O'Connor as O'Connor is tangled up right to near corner. Shots are 6-2 Avs as a reverse hit on Kelly goes. One of the Stars went down. Up the far boards. This is chipped in on the back end to the near corner. Harley cuts off O'Connor. Bishop was spot up, and out to center this comes on a racing Marchment on the backhand. Malinsky sticks it over, and the Avs will get their changes. Stars will now settle for theirs. Malinsky up the near side boards, sends it side by MacKinnon with Ottinger playing it out. CC almost turned over, gets played to the left point. Was the Stars trying to get a 2-on-1? Here they come. Nico Rantanen on his former team. Mackenzie Blackwood stood tall.
That was great goaltending for Blackwood, because I was kind of wondering if Blackwood had to think of the same thing. If Rantanen could have got that over to Hintz as a turnover right in the neutral zone, almost turned into a disaster. But Blackwood bells him out with the glove.
And on the back check, David MacKinnon was able to get back in time to prevent Rantanen from elevating anything and to prevent him getting a cross-ice pass to Rupe Hintz. Excellent back check from MacKinnon. We're at the break now, as they're showing highlights of the Avs Stanley Cup Championship from 3 years ago. This year's Avs team may have similar vibes.
Yeah, you're wondering because all the moves from Chris MacFarland and Joe Sakic, you're thinking about all the changes that we've made between games 1, game 7, everything leading up to this, trying to get back to this point from a few years ago, as you said. And yeah, they have those same vibes, but it is so incredibly hard to believe that the Avalanche are able to make this many changes and find themselves back at this point again, because the team from 3 years ago, the teams from now, yes, you have MacKinnon and Makar, and you got Gabe Landeskog back, but pretty much everything else is unrecognizable.
It was a top-heavy lineup from the last 2 years and 8 months and such, because those lines were more top-heavy. This entering the season, the Avalanche looked like a wild card contender at the very best, and now they got themselves back into the Stanley Cup contention category.
Yes, they have, and when you look at it, as we said from the start of the game, even though it was 2-2 on the shot board, Dallas played very well to start this. Avalanche get turned away with nothing on the double minor. Now we'll see if the lineups and everything else and the lines can roll over and recoup there for Peter DeBoer's squad. Get back on the right set of this 6:27 left and see if the Stars can break the ice here at home ice.
Yeah, neither team has really managed to break the ice open here. There were some chances, most of them for the Avalanche, and Joakim Viranta being one of those ways. It wasn't overtime here. He did so for his former team, the team that he is facing up against, a hat trick and an overtime winner, 2020 in the West semifinals, 5-4 in the Edmonton bubble.
And the Stars have won those last deciding games against the Avalanche. They've won 3 straight. Again, we mentioned Peter DeBoer 8-0 through his career through Game 7's Bednar 0-3. It's the offensive zone draw here for the Stars.
Yeah, Jared Bednar 0-3 is looking to end that 0 streak tonight. Up for the middle, discus passes on a 2-on-2. Nichushkin can't get this one inside. Grayling goes back. Michael Grayling, short side. Can't get this one past Blackwood. This bounced up at the near corner. He has to scoot it up. And here's Nelson slowing the action down. Nelson across, and he gets taken off for a bump by Thomas Harley. The puck is out of play at the mesh.
Yeah, right at the 6-minute marker. It's shots 5-4, everything pretty close there. When I look at some of the other team stats, anything else that jumps out, a quick 6 hits across the board, but the Stars already have a decided advantage in the circle, 6-2 on the draws.
Already, it's faceoffs that are determining the play here. If there's anything that's going to be a factor here for this game, it's faceoffs. That was well documented when Toronto beat Ottawa in Game 6 2 nights ago when the Senators gave them a scare.
Yeah, that was definitely a scare in the series, and now the Maple Leafs have to deal with the Cats. That's going to be fun on Monday.
Wow. Here's Josh Manson, and this could be a break here for Mason Marchment. Chasing down the puck, and he just ran out of room. Tried to center it short side. There was none of his teammates there as all the Avalanche get back. Matthew Shane, who ended the Avalanche season last year, has yet to score in this series. His linemate, Tyler Seguin, already has an overtime winner to his credit as we have an icing.
Okay, so again, we're both on record for 3-2. You got OT, I got regulation. When I see that there for Duchesne, I'm going to put my rubber stamp. Duchesne's going to score tonight.
It may be fitting enough because it's his former team that he's facing up against. You know, I like that prediction for you.
And you mentioned that alongside that triangle for the Stars defense. We got a great shot of that. They did excellent work there on that double minor.
Yep, the triangle diamond formation, that was an aggressive penalty kill for them. Moving up for the middle, it is Necas. To the right side, Necas. A high rising shot that didn't make it all the way through. Out inside, it makes its way to MacKinnon at the near corner. Across for Necas, corner to corner. Back to the point, Toews loads up and is fired wide. Makar is all tied up, 82 on the one-timer from the point. Picked up by Bishop, he'll give it to Petrovic, his defensive partner at Texas in the AHL. The two connect once again as Bishop, the towering 6'7" D-man, flips it to the far corner, but getting the first one there, and then fired around to the left point where Lindell keeps it. Lindell bangs it around. McKinnon cuts off the pass for Ben. Cale Makar spins around wide Johnston, trying to break free of him. Johnston's still on his shadow, and it moved up through center where there's another tie-up, flipped by Parker Kelly. Ottinger, the second guess is coming off the crease as Kelly arrives there. Jack Drury keeps it in. Drury on his backhand to Kelly, and then over to the right point for Malinsky. Fourth line and bottom parity out there. Left shot from Lindgren, bounced out in front. So it's a tie-up, and it comes down through center all the way onto the Av zone, where it's picked up now by Sam Girard. Girard to the near half boards. O'Connor sends it in. Lavushkin out to play. He is chased by Landeskog. Lavushkin up the far half boards and takes a bounce as behind Blackwood, collected by Malinsky. Malinsky sends it up through the right side. And carrying it up with speed is Nelson. This guy gets skates. Up at the far half boards, Blackwell. Game 2 overtime hero who gets shoved towards the benches, and way outside is Sam Steele.
You get a late whistle. Again, we talked about Ottinger, Robo, Miro Heiskanen in that same draft a few seasons ago for Jim Nillen's squad. I think now, obviously now, I got to make the mention for Liam Bishop. He's only 20. You mentioned his size, about 230 pounds. He's already playing a prominent role for the Stars. And by the way, because they've done so well drafting, that also opens it up for them to make a big move in that trade from Carolina to Dallas for Mikko Rantanen.
And even though they gave up 4 first-round picks between the trades for Rantanen and Granlund, they're not really fazed by doing so. They're comfortable with the change in philosophy to go to a win-now window and to prioritize Stanley Cups.
Yeah, because as you said, they've already drafted well. I think about it, of all the picks, and Alec and I can mention this too, because Alec now has one of the prominent players playing over in Carolina. Logan Stankoven's been terrific, but how many other teams can get rid of somebody like him and still be able to do well? That's how well Dallas is drafted.
Yeah, Jim Nill has shaped the face of this franchise into one that can and sustain for a long-term sustainability. A deep lineup, and we expect him to continue to field deep lineups down the future. The futures of Johnston, Robertson, Heiskanen, Hintz, Ottinger, those guys are safe.
Yeah, and that comes at the right time, too, because, again, you have the long deals at some point that will start to end for Sagan and Ben. Not saying that they still don't have prominent roles on this team right now, but that's also going to be a combined probably about $16, $17 million in cap space. And as we said out before, over the next 3 years, the cap's going to shoot up another $6.5 million. So it's not like the Stars are in cap hell either.
Yeah, they're in a very good spot where they can contend for many years to come. And even so, with Jamie Benn being a free agent this year, one could imagine that if he were willing to do so, he could take the hometown discount.
Yes, I think he would be more than happy to come back and do the captaincy continually for this team.
That's how I believe it to be, too. 3:49 to go in this first period. This game has been tied for nearly 160 minutes, the most of any series. But this series has been tied for nearly 160 minutes, the most among any series of this 8 first-round series that have been played. Give away at the near side. Here are the Stars here with Sam Steele. Short side, rebound, box, swing and a miss. Harley, deep shot, kicked out by Blackwood, going down was Steele, and he has to get this one out. This is going to be icy.
Boy, oh boy, Blackwood bails out his team, and I had my heart in my throat there. You cannot turn the puck over in the middle of the slot, and not for a swing and a miss secondary there for Oscar Bach. Dallas would have made this a 1-0 game.
And that was so close to disaster for the Avs because it was that close to being the bank being broken open. The Stars, they're talented too. Don't take them lightly as the Duchesne lies out there. You said that he's going to be scoring here. We'll see if that comes to fruition.
Again, we got a lot of other stuff to think about on the docket as we get settled for round 2, but round 1, it's going to be scintillating here. We got Colorado, Dallas Game 7, and then we got Jets and Blues tomorrow.
Yeah, not to mention about the NBA side where you have the Nuggets and Clippers right now. They're at halftime. And tomorrow is the Rockets and Warriors, the most hyped up series of any Western Conference series. Here's Landeskog carrying it in. Drop pass for Necas, and here's Makar. Kerwin drag, fires it wide. Looking for his first career Game 7 point. Giving it is Makar. Trying to hold the zone. Lehkonen in the way there. With the Stars carrying this one out. And all the way back to his own zone is Toews, who flips it up the ice to an open MacKinnon. Lindell there to block off that dumping. And up the near side, Jamie Benn wants to center it up. Right behind to the near corner is Lehkonen. No scoring so far. With 2:33 to go in the opening session. From the far corner, it is Toews. And this is backhanded to Lindell. Lindell gets tied up. O'Connor brought to his knees. O'Connor. We stay 5-on-5 as Toews goes back. Jamie Benn outing around everywhere as Toews holds up. Line changes coming for both teams. Toews and Nelson reunited. They were teammates with the New York Islanders. Up the near side, stopping is Sam Volitsky. And up front, here's Logan O'Connor. O'Connor, down in there, he gets shot behind by Bishop. What an excellent back check by the towering D-man. Picked up by Drury as the Stars are waiting to clear the zone. A stick check as Kelly goes down. Staying 5-on-5 here as Bishop moves it up. 155 hits for Bishop, which is a team-leading stat during the regular season. In just 38 games played, he's got a bright future ahead of him. Up the near side, 2-on-2 for Brandlin and Rantanen. Rantanen up to the far corner. He boosts Volitsky out the way, but takes himself out in doing so. From the far corner, here's a giveaway. The Avs moving up 2-on-2 of Harley getting back. Flipped it over Drury for the far half boards. And there's nothing there at the left point. And then flip back over to the far boards. Manson arrives first as he beats out Oscar back. At the near corner, Lindgren gets shoved down by Sam Steele. MacKinnon helps him out. Drury unable to hold it. Right behind is Steele. Trying to pry this one free. Does so away from Lindgren. Go to the near corner. MacKinnon's all tied up. Lindgren as well. Onto the opposite corner. It is Kiviranta. So Kiviranta gets it out as there's a heavy slam at the boards. Ilya Labushkin goes all the way back. Labushkin for Harley. Nothing doing there as the Avs hold his own at the near half boards. Nichushkin tried to pry it away from his former team. Sent all the way down. This may be no icing. He'll be picked up by the Avs. I thought there was going to be because it seemed to be dumped in from the behind the red line. Well, behind it, but there was nothing there. No bench for either one of these two teams, but here is the takeaway over the neutral zone at Baptist Shane. Swipes this one away onto the far half boards, only for himself to be met by the Avs. Playing one of two stars who play against their former team, the other being Mikko Rantanen. Offside, this takes a bounce, and it juggles off Marchment, picked up by Colorado. Maybe one last rush institution, collects at the near corner, whips it short side. There's not going to be anything here to end the first period, scoreless after one. We were here in this situation last year in a Game 7, Bruins-Leafs last year. It's the first scoreless period of this series between the two.
Yeah, I'm glad you said that because I remember covering that with you with bated breath. But even though this one was scoreless, Alec, I feel like a lot's happened. I feel like I need a breath, and you're the one that was doing the play-by-play. That was a brilliant 20 minutes.
Yeah, it was a masterclass defensively between the two squads. While good they are offensively, we need to give shout-outs to the defense. We talked about what the concerns are for Dallas' defense are, especially at the right side. Lehkonen and CC stepped up big time. And not to mention that Petrovic and bottom pairing minutes. For all of the talk that we can talk about with the 2017 expansion draft with the Florida Panthers, Petrovic has found a home next to Bishop on the bottom pairing.
Yeah, he has. And again, I want to mention Bishop one more time. Again, the 20-year-old. You mentioned about 40 games, about 135. He's got about 3.5 hits a game already. He's already playing dominant defense. We know he's going to improve there. If he actually improves a little bit of his goal scoring, and I'm not going to say this too lightly here. I know it's going to be an all-star caliber name, but if he turns himself anywhere close to Chris Pronger, I think the Dallas Stars are going to be happy. Somebody like Darian Hatcher as a hometown guy.
So someone that can hit hard and create the offense for himself.
Yeah.
Those are two good names to bring up in this conversation. Chris Pronger, Darian Hatcher, gritty veterans that were leading their teams to Stanley Cup Finals and Stanley Cup championships. Pronger with the Ducks especially.
Yeah, I really like his game from what I've seen so far. And as you said, you could roll all four lines in here between the Dallas Stars, and I really don't feel like they miss a beat. The one thing I noticed, and between this game one that we covered together now and the Game 7, is that the Stars have unrelenting energy when they play well. Look, we can make the comparison a couple of games ago when Jake Ottinger got pulled and some of the Dallas fans were wondering why. Well, Colorado was able to get a 4-0 shutout, the first of the series there. Let's make no bones about it. If Ottinger didn't play as well as he was, that game would have not been 4-0. The Avalanche could have scored 10.
That looked to be a stinker game for Artturi in Game 4. Just a rare instance in which he looked off from his usual self. But nonetheless, it may be more clear now on why Peter DeBoer pulled him in Game 4, even though he allowed 3 goals on 34 shots. He was getting shelled with shots, and DeBoer doesn't want to ruin his confidence even more.
No, and again, with the energy that they play with, being able to steal in all zones, manufacture steals, turn the puck over the other way. If Rantanen could have got that pass over to Rope Hintz, I don't think Mackenzie Blackwood was going to be able to make the save. Could have been 1-0 Dallas. Could have been 2-0 Dallas if a shot there from the point wasn't fan on a second opportunity for Oscar Bach. So I do think Dallas, despite the double minor for the Avalanche that they had, probably was the better team in that first. I've loved their energy. My question to you is, and between the Avs or Stars, whoever advances out of the West, can any of these other teams in the West sustain the energy that these two play against each other, because it's a track meet?
Well, rarely do we ever get track meets in the Stanley Cup playoffs. Most of these games are going to be ending up low scoring, and shots are earned and not given. Rarely do we have a series like what we just saw between the Kings and Oilers, where we saw track meet after track meet. Game 1 of that series, track meet. Game 3, track meet. Game 4, even though it went deep into the first overtime, track meet. Game 6, yet another track meet.
Yeah, it's been crazy the way that some of it's been. But again, my point is, in the sense for the Avalanche and the Stars, I do think these are the two best teams in the Western Conference. It's a shame they can't play more as we get to a deciding 7. And that's why I'd say whoever wins this, I think, is going to the Stanley Cup Finals. I still got the Avalanche winning the whole thing should they do so. I do think the Stars will make it there. At least if they don't, If they don't get past this series, they won't, obviously, but we'll see if they run into the Cats. I think the Cats probably have the advantage all the way through, and it will bring Alec's prediction here for the Toronto Maple Leafs. Again, I know we both picked the Panthers as well, but if the Maple Leafs find a way to get past the Cats, Maple Leafs could probably go to the Stanley Cup Finals. I know their fans would be happy with that.
You know, it would be the happiest that they would ever see because they've waited since 1967 to go back to the Stanley Cup Final. The closest they've ever been to the final, the no call on Wayne Gretzky's high stick on Doug Gilmour.
Yeah.
That still stings to this very day for Leaf fans. But nonetheless, even though the Panthers have the advantage in nearly every facet in this series, what we would want for the series is to have it go 6 or 7 games.
Yeah.
If the Leafs do come away with this one, I would be so happy for them. I know the Panthers are the defending champs, but I do believe that the Maple Leafs have the energy to match up with them. The Panthers are just that good.
Before I flip into the other series, and again, I want to make no bones, I don't want to be disrespectful to the other teams because we're going to talk about that as well, but I will say on Monday, I do plan on covering Maple Leafs and Panthers, and I'll get a chance to host that one. Whether Alec is going to be able to do so or not, we're going to work more games in round 2 as I'll be back. I'll have an announcement at the end of this broadcast. If it gets into OT and all that stuff, I can delay it for another time. But if it's close enough, I'll make the announcement at the end of the broadcast. But I will say, for the Leafs, I think it's very important, Alec. I think it's paramount they take game 1.
Set the tone at home ice and to send a message to the defending champs that they are not playing around, that they mean business here at Scotiabank Arena. We talk about the core 4, and people can point to this as potentially the most important series of the core 4 in their careers. But the way I also see it, if they lose this series, no shame in doing so if they make it competitive in a 6 or 7 game series. No shame in doing so. Craig Berube was the right hire. And with the depth that they have, everything is clicking together. Their most underrated line from Toronto, their 4th line of Lawrence, Lawton, and Yarncrook. That's a physical and defensive line.
Yeah, their 4th line has been very good. Some of the other lines need to be able to step up a little bit. And the Maple Leafs were able to do that a little bit in the last game against the Sens. But you're right about their 4th line. I will say this, when you make that mention, I do believe in Craig Berube, completely down on that point. But you're right about Matthews, Marner, Willie Nylander, Tavares. This might be the last ride for that core 4. We feel like we've had this conversation, Alec, ever since we've been working together over this last stretch of few years here. But this probably will be the last ride. And no, there will not be any shame if they make it a competitive series against the Panthers. But at some point, we've seen enough. And if they can't come through this year with that core 4, it's probably over for them.
It is a shame, really, because this may be their best shot with this current core. We don't know where Marner's going to go, but if there's an option which the Toronto is more likely to keep, I think they may be more likely to keep John Tavares for that matter.
Because Tavares is probably another one of those guys, Alec, correct, that can get you more of a hometown discount, most likely?
Yes. I think he'll get the Leafs a hometown discount. Say the cap hit will be smaller, but he'll deliver more. I mean, he's been delivering time and time again. He's been the most underrated top 25, top 50 player in the NHL this year.
I agree with you. He's had great years. Thomas Harley is getting the interview from Emily Kaplan, another one of those guys that absolutely broke out and started last year. He's been terrific. He's got a plus-minus around 50 in this regular season. His 2-0 record in Game 7 is just another piece that continues to do well, but I still want to keep my attention in the East because we haven't had a chance to talk about the Caniacs too much here. The Hurricanes get a chance to play the Caps. And I will say this, the only concern I have for the Canes, I saw that Freddie Anderson got another 1-year extension, is the goaltending between Kochetkov and Anderson, because I do think, and I'm not even saying this because you're in here, Alec, I think the Canes can beat the Caps. I'm a little bit concerned about the goaltending, but other than that, I will take the Canes to go to the Eastern Conference Finals.
You're playing it bold there. I feel personally, as a Canes fan myself, I'm a little uneasy about the Capitals, knowing that they are dangerous and stacked and with their lineups. But Rob Brind'Amour knows what he is doing right behind the bench. I think it's going to be easy. And while I'm not a believer in the Canes getting past the Capitals, maybe the lessened expectations could help out Carolina getting by the Capitals. Not a lot of people are expecting Carolina to go to the Stanley Cup Final. Maybe that could be the benefit of not being top-heavy anymore. Yes, Carolina got by an injured New Jersey defense. Remember, they were without Luke Hughes, without Brendan Dillon, without Jonathan Kovacevic, and several of their defensemen were playing visibly injured. Not just Dougie Hamilton and Jonas Siegenthaler, but Brett Pesce was playing injured. And not to mention, no Jack Hughes. Jacob Markstrom had to play hero for the Devils at times. And he can only do so much with a top six that's been doing all the work and a bottom six that's been doing next to nothing for the Devils.
And Markstrom was absolutely phenomenal before that double OT goal. There really wasn't much more that he could do. I will agree with you on the Caps as far as them probably being the better team, because that's the one thing I look at, even though I'll take the Canes and I'll do so more for your sake, Alec, because I want to see you advance at least to the Eastern Conference Final. I will not pick anybody against the Panthers, and that's not any shame there. I just think they're too strong and too talented, because I already made the mistake of taking the Bolts, because let's be honest, there's not too many teams like the Cats that could take out the Lightning in 5 games.
They're very few and far between. If we were to look for the best chance to beat the Panthers, maybe we could go out west to look at either Dallas or Colorado.
That's probably the only way I see it. I don't see an Eastern Conference team coming through. But again, I got to give my flowers and respect to Logan Thompson. Again, Charlie Lindgren and Logan Thompson. In April, the Caps didn't play all that well, but it looks like Logan Thompson certainly found his game. Again, it's one of those ones where you take Aiden Hill over Logan Thompson. Again, Hill's probably less money than Logan Thompson was. However, the Caps found themselves a goaltender that I think is capable of stealing games and stealing a series.
Thompson played well in the 4 playoff games he played last year with Vegas, and he showed that he's mentally tough and not able to back, and that he does not back down at anything. So that was a good choice for them to pick up Thompson from Vegas in the midst of a Vegas cap crunch. And that paid off in full dividends for Washington. He got rewarded of a handsome sum of money.
Yeah, he did. Jacob Chychrun as well. Again, I love the chirp in between that series, a little bit in between the Washington Capitals and the Montreal Canadiens with Tom Wilson. Love or hate Tom Wilson, he's a wonderful player, though. When you have him on your team, you love him. When he's not, you don't like him. But the little crybaby back and forth that he had with the Canadiens, I thought was a monumental picture to show on the TV screen. I loved it.
That fight out with Josh Anderson really spoke volumes. And they were going all across the bench, and the linesman Kyle Flemington had to break them up at the bench. Props to him for breaking that one up, because it takes a Herculean effort to separate two grinders from one another. Twist of irony, Flemington used to be Anderson's teammate with the London Knights.
Oh, that's a very good pull by you. So that's why I work with you. You're the encyclopedia. And I will say the other thing for Tom Wilson, credit to him, because if it's a few years ago, and he said it as much during one of the intermission interviews, he'd probably be taking a few extra penalties that he doesn't do so now, because he's more level-headed.
Yeah, he's more level-headed now. And the days of him taking over 100 penalty minutes per season. He's more level-headed now, being more calm, cool, and collected, and to set up for the line to be passed from Ovechkin to him in terms of captaincy, we believe.
That's going to be interesting to see when that day comes, because, again, I'll feel a little bit uneasy, but at some point, Alex Ovechkin's time will run out, and you have to wonder, from the expansion year with the Vegas Golden Knights to when the Caps won the Cup, I was wondering if that would be Ovechkin's only opportunity to lift one, but this might be even better. I don't know. Maybe I can make the comparison, even this team being just as good as the one that won the Cup for the Caps that many years ago. And then one last thing for me before we close out this intermission. It's the Golden Knights and the Oilers. We know that one's confirmed. We're still waiting between Jets and Blues. That's going to finish up tomorrow, as we mentioned. The Golden Knights and Oilers. How do you see that series going?
Well, people can see this as a rematch of 2 years ago, and it is. And while this is an old-fashioned grudge match between these two, of the top 2 picks of the 2015 draft that was star-studded, Connor McDavid, Jack Eichel, of course, the top 2. And we already know about pick number 3 being a quote-unquote forgotten pick, because that went on to be Dylan Strome, and that was Chicago and Washington. The sale to tape, McDavid being the first, second, and third best player in the NHL, as he pointed out earlier in the season. That still rings true. Edmonton grinded out the Kings later as the series wore on. They got more comfortable over time, and they're comfortable settling into defensively, even though that they were firing all sorts of shots on Darcy Kemper. The Kings were exhausted, playing the same 9 forwards and 4 defensemen throughout most of those games down the stretch. And the Oilers balanced things out between their 4 lines. And Corey Perry's getting looks at the top 6 again. What year is it? 2007?
Yeah, it makes me think of Bobby Ryan and Ryan Getzlaf.
Yeah, it does. And in that sense, we're thinking of a series that could go the full 7 games. It went 6 last time around, but I think it's going to come down to goaltending. And Adin Hill looked a little shaky in the first round series. Calvin Picker's confidence is riding sky high, but how long does that last against a Vegas team that is balanced up and down the lineup? Plus, Bruce Cassidy is a better coach than Jim Hiller is. So I think it's going to come down to what is going to be in sorts of special teams. Vegas' power play and Edmonton's power play are electric, but Vegas this season had better special teams than Edmonton's special teams. And for that, and Vegas structure, I think it's more balanced up and down the lineup. So that's why I'm thinking Vegas in 7.
Vegas in 7, huh? I think I'm going to go with Vegas as well. Would I be surprised if the Oilers get all the way through and go back to the Stanley Cup Finals again off a repeat? Maybe it's the Cats and Oilers again. I don't think Alec and I would be immediately surprised. But I do think Golden Knights. But I go back to your last point you just made in between Calvin Pickard. No disrespect to him. I remember he started his career there with the Avalanche. He spent some time there with the Red Wings in a little bit of limited fashion. But if Pickard doesn't do well, then you go back to Stuart Skinner, who has not been good at all. Adin Hill, I think, has a lot more to prove. But still, even for Ilya Samsonov, you have no confidence in him. So we could see another one of these series, even though the Golden Knights have much better defensive structure. I agree with you there. Their defensive structure could probably stop some 6-5 type games from even happening. But if it gets to that point and both of these teams have no confidence in their goaltenders, things could get ugly because these offenses are pretty good.
Yeah, these are 2 very star-studded offenses. And of course, you can never count a team that has McDavid or Draisaitl on them. Draisaitl is tied for MacKinnon for 2nd in the NHL in points in the playoffs. McDavid stands alone at 1st. Those 2 can steal any game for the Oilers at any point. And there's a reason why McDavid won the Conn Smythe Trophy last year, despite being on the losing team. Yeah,
again, that's how good he is. And the Oilers are going to be able to ride that same tandem. Again, you got Corey Perry even trying to take away from the Zach Hyman and RNH production that they got last year. You don't have some of those other guys like Philip Broberg or Warren Fogle in the mix that were big heroes. You still have Matthias Janmark, but the Oilers are going to need some other pieces. They're also going to need Jake Wallman, who they traded for, but I'm still going to go with Golden Knights. I'll take them in 7 as well.
They called there. They're getting into the second period, and I know Denver fans have to be happy with the Nuggets. They are blowing
my God
out of their building. 18 points for Aaron Gordon, and Jokic is on triple-double watch, 14, 8, and 8.
I guess we made the right call to cover the Avs and the Stars.
Yeah, we did, because the Denver sports fans have to be feeling happy so far. If the Avalanche go on to win tonight, it'll be a perfect night for them.
Yeah, we'll see. Again, there's going to be a lot more trepidation in between these two because Alec and I mentioned, I think this game, especially in a Game 7, the game's going to be a little bit closer anyway. But we're not going to see Games 4, 5, and 6 unless we get some sort of 4-goal breakout that these two teams had in Game 6 in between the both of them.
Right, here we go. Second period.
So right now, Dallas plus 120 on the money line. They're the one giving you the extra. They think the Avs are the favorite here as the road team. We'll find that one out. This is picked up off the back pass in the Victory Green now at home, trying to take this one the length of the ice. This will be sent back around the embankment now. The Avalanche get a chance to touch this puck with Gabe Landeskog. We'll send this one ahead now. Coyle, Landeskog. There's a feather pass. Good shot and a save. It get deflected toward the left side dot. Now the Stars find a way. Lyubushkin got stick lifted for a moment as this goes toward the blue line side, in between a couple of Stars and Avs, and this will fall to Blackwood. Will hold with 19:16. We're just getting going here in the second period.
So far, it's been slow here to start off as we get Ian on board. But Game 7, one of them has been a blowout. This one has been rather defensive.
Yeah, it's the third time we've had a scoreless period in this series. Everything else has been goals aplenty. Games 4, 5, and 6 being ozone draw. Again, 6 straight Game 7 losses, 5 straight decided by 1 goal. At some point, the Avs won't be at that part of history, but who knows? The Dallas Stars, even without Robertson and Heiskanen, can still control their own destiny because they're that good. Marty Necas, little inside out against the Stars' defense. And now we'll see if Dallas can start this one again. Here, opportunity for Wyatt Johnston. He'll flip this one in the corner. Get his own rebound, send it out in front. Little inside-out move as this knocked down one of the Avalanche. Back in mind, and Wyatt Johnston gets dispossessed. And now the cerulean and maroon look to break this one out with Devon Toews. Not sure where he was dropping it. That was not a good pass as this goes toward the right side. Here toward the back line, this goes off the side of the net here for Cale Makar. And Cale now can slow things down. Trying to get this one up the gut to 88, and Necas will just take his change for Jared Bednar's squad as Oettinger slows this back in behind his own cage. Little outstretched pass will be picked up toward the right side corner here for Sam Malinsky. Again, he's got a big shot on that bottom pairing defense here for Colorado. As this is inside out for Parker Kelly. Trying to be a holding at the line. Parker's going to get this one back. He'll shove it down. 1.9 points per game in the playoffs. It's pretty good for Cale Makar, but he's got to get on the goal scoring sheet more so than anything else, especially if he wants to get a win in Game 7, because you don't want to have the same thing happen to you a couple of years ago like it did against the Kraken, as this is offside against the Avs.
It's so strange to see that Makar has yet to score a point in a Game 7, but the Avalanche, they need to slay some demons themselves as well. 6 straight Game 7 losses. The last 5 have been by 1 goal. And there's some notable overtime losses in between. 2 of those at the hands of the Minnesota Wild and 1 to this very team.
Yeah, absolutely. Again, Dallas over the last year, they've won their last 3 games against the Avs in the postseason series that will close them out. So Dallas has been a thorn in their side. Charlie Coyle gets waved out of the circle. Jonathan Drouin can't win this one. His victory game, we're going to get a chance to play with this now. Picked up now toward the left side red line, intercepted at neutral. And it'll be a stick lift. The Avs will find the position to race down with Josh Manson off the one-handed tuck. Manson now send this one across the wall way too hard. This will go all the way back to Mackenzie Blackwood. Blackwood now slipping in behind his net. Play this off the wall, but it's very contested here. Avs will just get this out off a flip. It's Charlie Coyle. Little inside out against Ilya Lyubushkin. Pushed against the wall, finished his hit. Now Dallas able to break out with the vulcanized rubber until Sam Girard will get the pick off. Rope hits, find a way to the bench. Pretty good two-way centerman. Has opportunity now for Nelson to sit off the side of the net. This will be flipped back around the end boards here and across the wall. And this will be picked off now by Dallas. Good outstretched pass. Be sending now for Bach. Try to get his own chip chase. Now opportunity for Malinsky. Already getting some time out here for Jared Bednar's squad as the Avs emerge. They break out the puck for Valmanchuskin. Thought he might have had one earlier in the first. There's a drop pass. It's blocked out in front of Oettinger, and he will play the knuckle puck and hold.
3-on-3 rush the other way for Colorado with Sam Girard leading the way. Valmanchuskin thought he had one earlier with an open net at the far side. But Jay Oettinger eats those pucks up alive with the rebounds in front. Nothing doing for Colorado just yet. And Pierre DeVore is the longest win streak in Game 7 all time, which is tied for the most wins all time and the most without a loss with Daryl Sutter.
Yeah, he just needs to get himself into the Cup Finals into a Game 7, and then you already know it's going to be a guarantee as far as that's been going. Trying to see if the Avs can break through that. Necas will just let the pass go back and across the blue line side, and now MacKinnon will finally get some top line time again. A little outstretch with the stick, and this is very contested. Good stop by Dadonov. This will slow this one down. Dadonov now trying to get chase. He will get positioning on Blackwood. This goes off the outside of the post and sent back down off the backhand, and this will be blown dead against the Avs.
Another icing, but Evgeny Dadonov sets up at the side of the net to test Mackenzie Blackwood. He shut that off on the left outstretched pad, so Dallas has their counterpunch here in terms of offensive chances. But so far, Colorado's getting the most of this. We'll see who is the more energized between these two in the second period.
Yeah, because the first period, you mentioned the first 20 hours, there was all sorts of energy expended. Now Matt Duchene hasn't had a goal in the series. I call for him to get one. Here's a shot through the screen. Good save, Blackwood.
Marchman set it up right in front of Blackwood to take his eyes away. But Blackwood squeezed the post enough to get that by and cover that one up. CC Jared Bednar, 0-3 in Game 7s, all by one goal. And while the one of San Jose was with Colorado being the final wild card in the Western Conference, it still seems to lose in the Game 7, but that year, you can build upon that to learn for the future. That he did.
Jonathan Drouin trying to take this one against Sagan. Sagan won this one easily back. Shot into the screen, goes wide and off the inboards. There'll be bounce here for Jack Drury, former Carolina Hurricane. Another one of those ads. This is a big rebound. Save without him, off the stick as this goes in behind the net now. And lifting out for Drury. He will get the steal. Back now for Lindgren. Fires into the traffic, and this bounces toward the left side red line. Avalanche are waiting for it to drop, but the Stars found it. It's turned over. Parker Kelly forces the steal, and now the Avs can't find it near the left side red line. Mason Marchman trying to get this one across the inboards. Petrovic with a hold. As long as the puck moves, the ref won't blow this play dead, but it's a massive humanity here. Still Parker Kelly off the lead pin. Now this goes toward the left side boards. Just does get held in by Manson. He loses it. Now off the back check, he gets a second effort, sends it down to Blackwood. Excellent work for Josh Manson under duress as they can start from 200. Pass too hard for Necas. Picked up now off the rush. It's Mikael Granlund. Here's a feather backhand right in the webbing of the catching glove of Blackwood.
The fourth line doing the work for Colorado again. They've been one of the most impressive lines for the Avs in this series. They got a 3-on-2 rush between Kelly, Drury, and O'Connor up the seam. And while Michael Granlund gets turned away by Mackenzie Blackwood, the fourth line of Colorado showed that they are very hard at work and they can take away chances to generate offense for themselves.
Shot board is 8-6, if you can believe that. That's still where we are now. It's Game 7. Sometimes the space gets tight, but the Dallas defense has really bothered Colorado. It's been throughout the series. Good shot block as this gets pushed to the left side corner. Avs do not get it out there off the lift as this is worked them behind the net now toward the right side red line. Victory Green get there first. Mikko Rantanen now gets the pass back. And behind the net of Blackwood now. Rope hints. The lefty now trying to work on his forehand as this gets chipped off the glass. Still in by Harley. Right at the net. Oh, what a save, Blackwood.
Tried to elevate it. Blackwood stood whipping, post to post, then turn it away. It's not a track meet as some games were throughout this postseason. It's not a Kings-Oilers game, but rather one was methodical. It's not a high-scoring game. Granlund just simply ran out of room, and he couldn't elevate this because if he were to do so, the blocker of Blackwood was right there. He just ran out of room right in front of him.
Yeah, I think Granlund, in the midst of everything, as you said, Alec, did the right thing, getting the shot off quickly just to give himself the chance. And Blackwood full sprawl makes the save. Another face-off win for the Stars. That's got to come to roost at some point. Here's a pass across off a skate. Otherwise, it could have been another goal for Dallas. They probably should have 3 here. They played very well. As is an opportunity now racing here for Kivi Ranta, trying to get his own chip and chase. Jonathan Drouin finishes his hit. As Sam Girard's going to get back, it's a 2-on-2 toward the right side to Shane. He reps one going for the top left of the post as that goes up and on a play.
Blackwood tried to ready himself up for that 3-on-2 rush with Matt Duchene. He stops at the right circle. Tyler Sagan's visibly frustrated. He seems to knock over some bottles by the Stars bench. But Duchene had one of the good looks that he had. You called him scoring a goal here tonight. He came close. Dallas probably should have 3 had it not been for the outstanding efforts of Mackenzie Blackwood. But at the same time, Colorado has some outstanding efforts, but they need to finish, these two teams.
Yeah, they do. Again, otherwise you think about it there for the Stars. I think they've had the more dangerous chances. They consistently played good defense. It hasn't come to fruition just yet. And you already mentioned this with the Denver Nuggets. call off the Dogs already in this Game 7. Mercy, it's a 35-19 third quarter. Denver Nuggets up 93-66.
Christian Braun with a spectacular game 7 with 19 points, 5 rebounds, and 4 assists on 8 of 15 shooting. And how about Aaron Gordon on 18 points, 4 rebounds, 5 assists? And while it's minimal usage from the bench, the starting 5 has been spectacular, as has been for them. Every single member of the starting 5 has double figures. Michael Porter Jr. is 11, which is probably the weakest link scoring-wise between those 5, but everyone did their job tonight.
And I don't think I've ever seen this. I know Kawhi Leonard, 6 of 13, shooting 22 points, but Kawhi Leonard is a team worst, minus 33 on the floor.
Wow. You know, they've already done it, but I think the meme still applies. Congratulations, Clippers. Your team still can't make it past the second round.
Ouch. But a team minus 33 was not on my bingo card for Kawhi Leonard. For him being a defensive ace on the Clippers, minus 33 was not on our bingo cards.
No, and you can't have, I know the playoff rotations, you said they get shorter during the postseason, and I agree with you, but I just don't think the Clippers have enough on the back end side. And Ben Simmons, I didn't even know he was on the Clippers.
People tend to forget, but it was a forgotten piece as part of that as he signed the league minimum deals. Shots off the rush 2 in the first period for the Avs, 4 here in the second period.
Avs now trying to make something happen off the rush as it's Manson throws it right at the net. Big rebound. This will pinball toward the right side red line. Avalanche will just shovel it in the corner here. Rope hints will get the puck. Nice move as he leaves it back here for Harley. Dallas tried to start from 200 feet. We're still waiting for the first goal of the game. Trying to with you alongside Alec Nava and Genji. As I take the second period, Alec called a frantic first, although we're still waiting for the goals. Both teams will take changes. And the winner will move on to play either the Jets or Blues that play tomorrow in the Game 7. Will the home team finally win a game? Will the road team continue to lose all these games? We'll figure that one out. Here's a big clapper. Johnston could not hold Blackwood, but he was able to fight it off enough. As this one now sent back toward the goal mouth, and this is another left pad save. And Colorado's going to find the vulcanized rubber here. They finally do so. Get this across the blue line, but disaster averted. Opportunity Landeskog. He gets shoveled toward the left side red line. As this is sent back down, high slot. Devon Toews. Back for Nathan MacKinnon. MacKinnon into the traffic. This one bounces before it ever hit Ottinger. Haven't really called Nate Dogg too much. Here's an odd man rush up a 2-on-3. A shot goes wide, and Blackwood was not even in the crease toward the right post. This one sent back down now as Bach gets the puck. Again, I mentioned Dallas, even though the shot board reads 9-9. I think they've been the better team in this game. Stars are getting to their feet right now, and fans are getting the chance up. This is picked up for Devon Toews. Send it back around the end boards. Here's a shot solved by the left pad of Blackwood. Sam Steele on his back skate as the Avs will turn it over again. Opportunity for Bischel. Bischel now leaves it here for Sam Steele. Sam Steele is another one of those guys in the fourth line that can do damage as far as great sandpaper. Colin Blackwell's already got one as far as an OT game-winning hero. Lindgren. Send this one here for Drury, but Drury doesn't elect to chase. Slam into the left side corner. Avs now trying to get the puck toward the left wall as this is picked up by Dallas. Dallas with an outstretched pass too hard for Blackwell. Coughs it up right at the State of Texas D, right at center ice. This one sent back in now. Ottinger will take a look. Again, he was masterful in all Game 7s. You know that loss in between the Flames when Johnny Gaudreau played hero, but he had about 60-some saves. Blackwell. This one flipped in the corner. Opportunity now as Steele will take his change, and Peter DeBoer's squad gets some fresh troops on the ice. Jonathan Drouin looked to break out, racing across the right wing, off the drop, sent toward the net. Does not hit Ottinger, bounced in front of the bullpen now, but he won't get a big glove on it.
We've seen both goaltenders come up huge in this time frame. Jake Ottinger made several good saves, and Mackenzie Blackwood was even more spectacular with Wyatt Johnston getting turned away. On the rush, Johnston leads it on the near side, fires a clapper, in which Blackwood was caught by surprise because he was not expecting a shot from distance. And then on the second try, slides a pass to Evgeny Dadonov, who just fast on this one one-touch feed to even open that at his right side.
So Wyatt Johnston, 2 games, 2 goals. Again, he scored one of those in the Game 7 against the Kraken on the Sunday. Maybe not Game 7, but he scored one of the late goals there when the Stars ended up taking them out after the Avalanche lost to them. So Wyatt Johnston is known for propensity of having big games. And again, in my previous statement, I mentioned between the Blues and Jets, I should say the home team is the one that's taking all the games. And this is going to be a tripping call against the Avs. Dallas will go back to the power play.
Interference on Sam Malinsky, I thought it was to be because it looked to be a hit right up in the middle of the ice. And Malinsky, the guilty party, he replaced Erik Johnson in the lineup after Game 2. But that was an easy interference penalty as Wes McCauley makes the call. He just boxed out his man, and he did not even have the puck at all. The pass missed for Rope hits, but Malinsky trips him up when he does not even have the puck. Easy call.
Yeah, you called that right. Thank you for that. Again, interference. Sam Malinsky off the instep. Rope hits, able to keep moving his feet. Again, we mentioned one of the very underrated players in the NHL. People don't like to use the word superstar, but you play the center position. You have that type of where you can get some elite speed, goal scoring, and assist making. Rope Hintz is one of the very best. Dallas has a lot of weapons, and they will be getting a couple more back should they advance in this series against the Avs. Again, the Avs didn't score on their double minor in the first. The Stars could get first blood here. As this is off the clearing attempt, Colorado gets it all the way down, and Dallas now will look to get things started here for Harley from Jake Ottinger. Try to go for left to right from the second period for the Dallas Stars. John Hunter with you alongside Ian Genji, Alec Nava. Alec Nava going to take the color in this second. This one picked off Logan O'Connor. He's got a ton of speed. It's off a one-on-one, cross pass, scores! Short-handed, and the Avalanche take the lead. My goodness!
I cannot believe it. I was watching a PWH show earlier in this game, and you'd think that the NHL could possibly get a jailbreak goal, and even though the jailbreak rules don't apply here, that looked to be a get-out-of-jail card on Monopoly, with Logan O'Connor going coast to coast to find a trailing Josh Manson for the opening goal. But we're going to point out here, it may come down to who scores the first goal here in Game 7. Josh Manson gets it early, banks it off the post, it went off Ottinger, and slowly floats its way to the net. How much of a bad sequence did you have to be if you're Ottinger in this situation? What else could you do here in this scenario?
You cough it up right at center ice. You mentioned Logan O'Connor's got a lot of speed. Manson in off the cut, right at the net, doesn't stop moving his feet. Banks it off Ottinger, off the post, and in, bleeds through. And halfway through the second, Colorado gets the first on a short-handed goal, if you can believe it. Logan O'Connor continues to play low-key hero Alec throughout this series. Josh Manson gets his 7th career playoff goal, 3rd career short-handed goal for the regular season in the playoffs. Dallas still, I think, will be game for this. Again, Alec and I both said 3-2. He's got the Avalanche in OT. I got them in regulation, but the Stars can certainly get this right back. Sagan now, near the right bumper. Here's Ben, right to Harley. High slot, one-time ripper. Parker Keller trying to smack this one off the inboards, but Harley get this now for Mason Marchment. Sent back around for number 91, Sagan. He gets stick this side. Good work here by the Avs, but the 3 can't dispossess the 1. Harley, cross pass, Marchment near the left side, red line in tight. Sagan right dot. Here's a shot. This one bounces off the inboards. Rolling puck. Avs don't elect to clear it. They will skate with it. Devon Toews sends it all the way down. Colorado kills the penalty. They score a goal. That's the most important part, is Josh Manson has got the first of the game. Good pass off the embankment. As Dallas will send it in. Sam Girard now. Skate back on his own end on his backhand. Look to get things going. He's got Nathan MacKinnon at his right. He goes for the long pass. Necas shoots it way high. This could be a rush the other way. Rantanen sets this one aside. It's a 3-on-2. Here's a good cutoff right up the middle. Nathan MacKinnon now picking up on his own end. He gives right up to his former teammate, Mikko Rantanen. Back now to Donov. Johnston take a hit. Nate MacKinnon trying to get this one in. Wyatt will send it around the inboards. Marty Necas. This one gets canceled off. That's the Lindell on the pinch. Wyatt Johnston making his move on the backhand, try to leave it up here for Cody Ceci. Lehkonen's right there. Johnston set it up the gut, and this will be flipped back down by the Avs, at least through center ice. Shot board reads 11-9. Josh Manson's got the first of the game. Team that scores first wins 76% of the time in Game 7. 150-48 is the record. This one will be sent toward the left side red line, not out of play. This will be an opportunity for Sam Girard, who's got to be on the edge of his ship now. Slowly send this around the inboards. Too hard for Nichushkin. Nichushkin will get this. He tried to play it ahead for Gabe Landeskog, but the Avalanche have iced it.
That was an excellent penalty kill for the Avalanche. Not only did they score, but they forced the Stars to the outside, preventing them from getting any high-danger looks. Parker Kelly leads the rush, and he forces the takeaway with the Stars rushing up. Logan O'Connor goes one-on-one with Thomas Harley. And once Manson comes down the trailer, he immediately locates him past the slightly open hole between the two defenders.
And we got a camera shot of Josh Manson, who just scored out. It looked like he was in deep meditation.
If you could say that, yes.
Picked up now for the Avs. Landeskog forces steal off the stick lift, smartly throws it into the corner. Gabe Landeskog, got to remember, it's kind of like a free agent acquisition. You get a chance to pick your captain back up. Should they advance, it could be big to get him more minutes as he continues to already play a prominent role. He's such a great player. Now picked up here for Val Nichushkin. Nichushkin sends it around the inboard. 1 goal, 3 assists, 4 points in his first game since the 2022 Cup Final when Nazem Kadri was on that team and scored a critical goal with an injured hand against Vasilevsky. Brock Nelson, as this is directly in behind the net of Jake Ottinger. 6:35 left to go in the third. Opportunity, Manson again. And this one will be sent toward the left side red line. Kind of wonder if Manson's already thinking he could score again. There's a broken twig near the right side of the dot, but the Stars able to get it out of their own end. Manson stuck playing defense as it's picked up here for Lindgren, who shovels it the length of the ice. Good pass ahead for Lehkonen, but he lost it off the 1-on-4. And now Lindgren looks like he's on the edge of his shit. He didn't have a lot of burners. Picked up here for Marty Necas. A little smooth skating here to Nathan MacKinnon toward the left wing. MacKinnon slows up, will spin back, take this one off the wall. 5 points in this series for Necas. 83 in the regular season was a career high as he spent some time with Carolina and now Colorado. He's got to try to play that second line role at least for wing or some center if they need it. Picked up here for Drury, and here's a one-timer. This one will miss everything. Devon Toews off the pinch as the Avs have it left side red line. Try to get this one on the forehand now across the wall. Toews sends it across to defensive partner. On his backhand, shovel up shot. This one pinballs. Avalanche now. Cale Makar in a severe pinch. Try to throw up the goal mouth. Picked off by the Stars. Excellent work there for Dallas. Just a funnel and then in front of Ottinger. Stop any chances. He's settled up now for Landeskog, who takes a bump. That's the Lindell. Cale Makar just 1 goal in this series, 65 shot attempts. You got to think he's got to do more. I'm just wondering, Cale Makar, he's got to hit the net more. He seems to miss it a lot throughout this series. Val Nichushkin, drop here for Nelson. Working behind the net of Ottinger. Colorado looking very good now since scoring that goal. Sam Girard, rolling puck, bounces off some Dallas bodies, never hits Ottinger. Still working in behind the right side red line. Dallas try to finish some hits. Here's opportunity for Nelson. Landeskog all tied up as this one will be sent back down, but it looks like the Avalanche have found their legs. Sam Girard breaking out of his own end. Beautiful pass right up the gut. Here's the drop. Logan O'Connor. Backhand opportunity off the right pad. Saved by Ottinger. This will be sent back now behind the net. Bounced off Drouin. Dallas looking to break out. Here is Jamie Benn, the captaincy. Will send this one in with Evgeny Dadonov. Dadonov now. So this off the outside of the cage here for Rope Hintz. It mixed up the lines for Peter DeBoer as this one is canceled off the pin. Avalanche with Jack Drury. Very good fourth line center. This will be knocked away. No shots for Dallas in the last 9 minutes. So again, what I've been saying has been apropos. Devon Toews off the entry. Here's the drop. Sent toward for Drury. This goes up the blocker of Jake Ottinger. On the side of the net, he's trying to track it. Dallas trying to find this at the goal mouth, as this is just massive humanity, the left side red line. And now we're going to get some pushing and shoving. O'Connor wants to throw some bombs. Rantanen getting tied up as well. Petrovic with some cross checks as they take out O'Connor's helmet.
How many penalties we're going to ever since that shorthanded goal they gave up. And there's a sense of dread here in Dallas, John, that the feeling inside me that says that shorthanded goal they allowed just sucked the life out of this building. That also affected the Stars' physique. That the Avalanche forced them to the outside on that penalty kill, but it should affect it to the point where they're not getting any shot attempts and even strength.
You're absolutely right, Alec. And again, I will say this. If it sucked the light off, it's at least done it now for the second period where you got 3:40 left. But somewhere and somehow, with no shots in 9 minutes, as you said, for a team like this, they've got to be much better. Dallas had a really good first. You don't want to let that all slip away because it's just a one-goal game. But at some point, they've got to find a way to go back into the dressing room. They've got to regroup for this third because it looks like the Avalanche now are playing this one-sided. And again, it's just a one-goal game.
It doesn't seem that way about one-sided, but it feels like they're paying homage to how the Nuggets are doing the Clippers tonight in this second period.
Yeah, it's really been a stark turnaround. Again, as we talk about that, it's 103-76. So I think anyone that was on pins and needles for a Denver fan, they've already switched the channel to the Avs and the Stars.
Oh, I guess that is the case here all around Denver. I really feel awful for teams that force a Game 7 only to get blown out in that Game 7. This is an awful feeling.
Yeah, I kind of wonder if that would have been the case for the Pistons should they have forced it, if not for Jalen Brunson's 40-piece. I know they're going to get to their point back again. And Ian, I know I mentioned this before between the home team winning all the series there between the Jets and the Blues, but Alec and I both picked the Blues to win tomorrow. Do you feel confident?
John, at this point, I have no idea what's going to happen. I mean, apparently, so someone put up the stats that in Game 7-like atmospheres, Jordan Binnington is a different type of goalie. Mm-hmm. So that's what you hope for there. But the Top Guns, our first line, they had to be clicking on all cylinders. Jordan Kyrou has been silent since Game 3. He needs to show up. Jake Neighbors needs to show up. Not surprisingly, what's been carrying them these past few games, in both the Game 5 loss and the Game 6 win, is their fourth line. And Cale Fowler. Which is fine, but their first line has been silent. Their fourth line is the one getting them the wins, which is, again, is cool. But your first line is your first line for a reason.
Yeah.
And they're not doing their job.
No, you're right. You got to carry at some point. Again, the last sequence, Blackwood able to make the save. It's another draw. This time defensively won by the Avs. You need to do much better in that category. That's the one thing where the Stars have had the pristine advantage, and now the Avalanche mercifully got a shot on goal in terms of that scrum. It really just kind of fell to him anyway. Here's a cross pass. Good defense for the Avs. It'll funnel us right up the gut. Opportunity to be slowed down here for Steele, as this is picked off by the Avs right at the right side of the blue line. And this will be solved by Ottinger as he shoves it in the corner. Easy one for Sagan. This pass will go down too deep. But they'll say they gain the red line, as it's Josh Manson. He's got the short-handed goal. It's the only one. Manson coughs it up, but again fights through in the second effort. As that could have been a tripping call, but Dallas able to escape. Send this one down the inboards, gain 100 feet, throw it in the corner now for Manson. He gets pinned. Picked up now for Gabe Landeskog, as this is an opportunity here for Nichushkin. Nichushkin will shovel this right out in front. This one takes a bouncing off the backboards, but Dallas able to pick it up in their own end. Try to race this one right across the left wing side. Sam Girard will get a camera shot, trying to get some inside out positioning on Mikko Rantanen. Rantanen use that body, throw it in the corner now, as he gets held up, tied up by a couple of Avs. About 2:05 left to go in the second. Alongside Alec Nava and I, Genji, I'm John. I'm going to finish calling the second. Just a 1-0 game. But the Avs have completely turned this run up to scoring the goal. They've stopped Dallas from getting any chances. Granlund's pass. This one gets deflected. Petrovic will send this one in the corner wide. Picked up now for Granlund. Granlund takes it D-to-D. This deflects back in behind the right side, looking for Steele. Lane to Scott. Safely plays this one ahead. Gain the red line. Does Jared Bednar squad and toss it in. Jonathan Drouin. Too far for him. Off the step up. Forced Dallas to turn the puck over. He's got 90 seconds left to go in this middle frame. Winner's going to move on to play either the Jets or the Blues. It's a one-on-one. Good back check here for the Avs. Able to shovel this one ahead. Parker Kelly takes a hit to make a play, throws it in deep. Logan O'Connor. They get a primary assist on that goal from Josh Manson. Victory Green now. Cece, Labushkin play this one ahead. Wyatt Johnston on his off wing. This is an opportunity for Beck. Beck now. He gets pummeled into the right side boards. As this one will be sent the other way for Logan O'Connor. He's got a ton of speed. Gets around Cece to Donald. A little one-handed drag. Fight at the net. 45 seconds left to go in this middle frame. 14-11 are the shot board in favor of the Avs. Cale Makar. He's got the puck as the Avs can take a breath and behind their own net. Look to start it again. They'll gain across the red near the left side. Ottinger comes back behind the crease, slows it down. 25 seconds left to go in this middle frame. Dallas, as DeBoer is 8-0 in Game 7's long shot. This one hit the glass. MacKinnon, this gets knocked away from him. Haven't called his name all that much in this second, but he's going to play a prominent figure. He's already got 6 in this series. This is kicked out of the air. Down to 5 seconds. This will be shoveled back down to Ottinger. While playing him behind his net. That is going to end the second period. Josh Manson with a shorty. That's the only one after 40. Avs lead 1-0.
Not the first time that we've seen into a low-scoring Game 7 affair. That last year we've been into one of these types of contests, Boston and Toronto, and then it gets followed up between Florida and Edmonton in the Cup final. But those were games in which they were low-scoring. In fact, Boston-Toronto was scoreless after 2. Florida and Edmonton was 2-1. Florida after 2. So there were some goals here and there with Sam Reinhart, the winner at the second period. And you wonder how things would go differently for Edmonton. Well, neither team was really phased from what the end result was with the last year's Stanley Cup final. But nonetheless, between Colorado and Dallas, Colorado has emerged into the better team ever since that shorthanded goal. Initially, it was all Dallas by the looks of it. Then Colorado took over from there. They shut Dallas the door. And they kept them towards the outside on most shooting opportunities. Wyatt Johnston gets struck up, not literally, but he's getting shut down here. He has 2 goals in as many Game 7s. Winner in 2023, opener in 2024. So this is one of the players we need to see if he can deliver here for Dallas if they were to come out on top here in this Game 7. The third period is going to be huge.
So let me give you a stat reset, then I'll throw you a critical question. It might be difficult to answer initially, but I do want to get both of your guys' thoughts. So shots on goal board reads like this, 14-10 in favor of the Avs. Stars marginally ahead on the hits, 21-20. Faceoffs, 15-12 for Texas Stars hockey, as they like to say, for their AHL. Both of the power play opportunities are 0 for 2. Giveaways are 12-9. You don't want to leave that. Dallas hasn't given up too many, but 11-8 on the block shots in favor for Dallas. I know this is going to be hard to answer considering what we saw from the last about 9.5 minutes or so for Dallas. But do you feel at least a little bit, Alec? I know we talked about momentum after the goal scored for Manson. Maybe that Dallas was just biding their time, or did Colorado really take that much momentum away from them?
It could be that Dallas may be looking for the perfect play. They want to get guys set up towards the front. But in a game like this, you want to fire at the net. But neither Colorado nor Dallas looked to be firing at the net initially. It was these two defenses wearing each other down initially. Yeah. And the way I saw this is that both defenses are still wearing each other down. Colorado's defense more so wearing down Dallas' attack. That's the way I see this, is that the Avs defense really came to play tonight. They look like they want to end their Game 7 curse.
And I'll look at this in the sense of it because we'll go back to your point. Game 4, 4-0 Colorado. Game 5, 6-2 Dallas. Game 6, 7-4 Colorado. Yeah, there was a lot of goals scored back and forth. Yeah, he had a shutout in Game 4, but I thought Mackenzie Blackwood played quite well. But Colorado, I think, has had a little bit more to prove. I know that might be tough to call in this series as hard as it can be in 2-3. I thought their defense could play a little bit better. I thought that they've been touched up a little bit too much, especially with the team that doesn't have Jason Robertson or Miro Heiskanen. I know that's tough to say, and it might sound like nails on a chalkboard, but Dallas has played quite well. And considering having two guys like that out of their lineup, the Avalanche should not be giving up as many goals as they've had throughout the series.
No. And their defense is stepping up to the occasion right now. It is a shame that we'll never know how this series would play out if Dallas had Robertson and Heiskanen, but it would still go the full 7 games in such a series. But we'll just never know how it all ends up with those two missing time.
Yeah, again, that is part of the reality sometimes. You talk about it in the same way as you mentioned between the Jets and Blues. Who knows what's going to happen with Mark Scheifele? Again, they're down a couple centermen, and the Jets, I think, you look at it on that side, I think they're in real trouble.
Yeah, don't Mark Scheifele. Well, if you play devil's advocate for the Jets, they just got Nikolai Ehlers back from injury.
Okay.
He initially was ruled out week to week, but from the looks of it, he's not at 100%. How effective will he be for Game 7 is the question. And we imagine him to retain his second line role right next to Cole Perfetti and whoever's going to be the second line center. Because if Scheifele can't go, we'd expect that Vladislav Namestnikov would be the top line center between Kyle Connor and Gabe Velarde and Adam Lowry on the second line, which fills in the question of who's going to be at the third line because of the Scheifele injury.
And I wonder, and I'll say this because I've seen some time in between the Bolts, a little bit of abbreviated time for the Stars, but especially at the Red Wings, Vlad Namestnikov, he's been a decent player, bottom sixer and all that, but with the Jets, he really just seemed to find a home.
Yeah, on the second line, nonetheless, he's found a home as a second line center, and at times he's thrived on the middle six in those years. Second line did good there. Third line did good there. Last year, we were wondering where he's going to fit into the lineup, possibly third, fourth line, but there was no room on that third line because Nino Niederreiter and Mason Appleton were already having good chemistry with Adam Lowry on that third line. So fourth line, it seems like, because that second line was already occupied between Ehlers, Sean Monahan, and Tyler Toffoli. But in the end, it was Winnipeg having a 5-game flameout. But Namestnikov back onto the second line. The Jets are sticking to what has worked throughout the season. Not much needs to be added. They're just making some minor tweaks to the lineup and then riding on from there. You have Luke Shen and you have Brandon Tanev, and you give it a go.
I want to say this, Ian, if you are around, please chime in because I've already asked Alec this question in terms, but if the Blues advance, let's just say they punch their ticket on Saturday, who would you rather play in this series, the Stars or the Avs?
I gotta be honest, John. There really isn't anyone I would want to play because this is not the regular season. All right, a lot of Blues fans are saying the Avalanche because we beat the Avalanche a lot.
Mm-hmm.
We beat the Avalanche a lot, but here's the thing. Dallas also has, as we're seeing in this game, they have some glaring issues. Mainly, if they don't get their offense going quickly, it tends to stagnate with very little opportunity to get it back up and going. And the Blues, when they're on, especially at home, they strike fast, strike quick, and they don't stop.
I'm looking forward to it. Again, I'm hoping, and I'm not just saying this for you, but honestly, I'm hoping that the Blues do advance because I do think that's going to make for a much more interesting matchup. And if I have to lean, I think I want to grit my teeth in on the Blues and Avalanche because I do think that that's going to be a series that probably goes at least 6, scores a ton of goals. We see some physicality. We see a lot of stars come out and shine. And I want to see because Mackenzie Blackwood, let's say he does advance. I still think, again, as we know, he does not have the experience. And if you get a chance to go farther along and Jordan Binnington moves ahead, Jordan Binnington might have some fun against the Avs, even with their high-powered offense. He can certainly steal you some games.
Yeah, like he did for Canada in the Four Nations face-off and the Blues in 2019. He elevates his game when playoffs come around, even for regular season stats having question marks. But playoff Jordan Binnington is a different animal.
Yeah, but again, the problem with the problem with the loss of Winnipeg has not been Jordan Binnington. It has been a little bit of the defense, but in games 2 and 5, the Blues could get nothing. They got nothing. They scored 1 goal, and on a 6-on-5 do-or-die in game 2, they couldn't shoot. They couldn't shoot to save their lives, and that right there is a problem. They need to just start flinging the pucks at the net. Stop looking for the play. I don't care if it's neighbors. I don't care. Honestly, at this point, when you're in Winnipeg, when they're in the offensive zone, Falk, Letty, you better be firing howitzers from the line. I don't care how far out you are, because we have seen the most ridiculous of goals happen on howitzers from the blue line, especially from defensemen. So you know what? Just start sniping.
I'm going to watch a little bit on Sunday when I can. I know I got to spend some time with the missus there tomorrow, so I can't cover anything Sunday, but I will be working Monday. I will send the schedule out and get a chance to get a few more of these games in totality, as I'll join back alongside Alec Nava, and I think I'll probably catch up with Cooper Hopkins because it's been a minute. Let me just, before we get to 7.5 minutes and Alec gets set to take over this first half, I'm going to go back to the NBA side of the bracket. I'm going to see on the Cavs and Pacers and the Knicks and Celtics. I do think the top seeds will find a way to make it chalk and play each other in the Eastern Conference Finals. Do you agree that we'll see the Cavs in Beantown, Boston Celtics?
It's a foregone conclusion that we'll see a Cavs Celtics Eastern Conference Final. I would believe the Pacers can push the Cavs to 5 or 6 games, but the Cavs will still seal the deal. I was having a discussion with some friends about who's going to be the most impactful player or the best player in the series. Some said Tyrese Halliburton. I think it's going to be Donovan Mitchell who will have the greatest impact in this series for Cleveland. And that's going to pay huge dividends for the Cavs because of how loaded their lineup is. The benches are not to be underestimated as well between Indy and Cleveland. But I trust Cleveland's bench more. Ty Jerome has evolved into a mainstay on the bench.
Yeah. He's been pretty good. And for the C's, considering the way that the Knicks, I know they beat the Pistons. I don't want to rub too much salt in one of my own team, but I thought they struggled for as much as they probably should have because the Pistons really only had 3 scores, and Tobias Harris played quite well. But the Celtics, too much depth, too much work there for the Knicks?
Yeah, I believe the Celtics, they'll take out the Knicks. The Knicks' 0-10 record against top 3 teams this season also doesn't do them any favors. So I feel the Knicks can take this to an extra game or 2, but in the end, the Celtics will come out on top. Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown, that's as good of a Batman and Robin as any other superstar duo in the league. And the Celtics, they have all the right pieces and the right personnel coaching-wise to take this series.
I just want to ask you one more thing as we get set here for the third, but we look at the Rockets and the Warriors. I'm going to assume that the Rockets find a way in Game 7 to close it out. I want to push you ahead here, Alec. Look ahead with the Timberwolves. How do you see that one matching up with the Rockets?
Right. Assuming that we beat the Warriors in Game 7 and become the first team in NBA history to complete 3 separate beatings to 1 series comebacks. Assuming that happens, it's going to go neck and neck between the two of them, but I feel it's going to come down to difference makers. But As I said with the Warriors series, we do know the Warriors' difference makers, Steph Curry and Jimmy Butler. And it also comes down to coaching. Ime Udoka over the last 2 games has coached circles around Steve Kerr. Masterful defensive game plans, especially later down the stretch, to take it to this point. Against the Timberwolves, I would be interested to see how that goes. I think we can take this to a competitive series with the Timberwolves. How this series goes, I think it's going to be a 50-50 coin flip. But it's just too close to call for me.
It's one of those ones out of the 4 series that we have left. That's probably the one I will keep my eyeballs on. I know the Nuggets did just advance. They win 120-101 against the Clippers, but their opportunity is to play against the Thunder. I like the Nuggets. They won a championship before, but I don't see it happening. I think OKC is going to probably go all the way to the finals.
I just don't see how anyone can beat the Thunder in the Western Conference bracket unless if any of these 2 teams at the Western side have a say in it, whether it be the Warriors, Timberwolves, or the Rockets. I just don't see the Rockets doing so. Warriors and Timberwolves could be, but the Thunder, they're the heavy favorites for a reason. When people say free throws, always counter with stifling defense. Always counter with clutch and timely buckets for any one of these players. This team is deep. They're the real deal, and people will remember this team for the many years to come.
It's kind of crazy because when you think about it with Sam Presti, it was not that long ago that the Thunder had Harden, Durant, Westbrook, Thabo Sefolosha, Serge Ibaka, all those guys. They go through a partial rebuild. I say that for maybe about 3 years, and then you get a million draft picks again. And the Thunder are going to be good for a long, long time.
Yep, because Sam Presti did the one thing that a lot of GMs are afraid to do. He said, "It's not working. Hit the big red button." And then, you know what? Honestly, when he hit the big red button, it worked. But it took the wonkiest turn, the wonkiest path it could take to work. I mean, let's go over the timeline. If we have time. Do we have time?
Got about 3 minutes.
Okay. So, real quick. You trade Paul George. You trade Russell Westbrook. You get SGA, Chris Paul, and a bunch of draft picks. The first year after they're both gone, you're thinking, okay, well, you know what? This is going to be a rough season. Chris Paul's on the back end. Let's go ahead. All right, let's go ahead and brace for a disaster of, what do you mean they have one of the best records in the West? Wait, what do you mean Chris Paul is playing at an MVP level in his late 30s? What do you mean? What do you mean you're able to trade him for a first-round pick to the Phoenix Suns in the offseason?
If I'm a Thunder fan, and again, it's really hard to not be because it feels like they've always been good. They really don't have to worry about anything else. I know it's part of the Seattle Supersonics and all that too, but you've really not had much to complain about. All that's really left now is getting the Larry O'Brien, and the Thunder are going to be in mix for that for a long time. And maybe this team is even better than the team that we just discussed from a few years ago.
Yeah, even better than what we discussed. Possibly better than the 2012 team that made it to the NBA Finals with Harden, Durant, and Westbrook, and all those cast of characters. Harden was a 6th man that year, and that was the year before he had his emergence with the Houston Rockets. This Thunder team could be a mainstay in NBA championship contention for many, many years. Shea Gilgeous Alexander is going to be a perennial MVP candidate, and if he wins MVP this year, all the power to him.
Yeah, it makes me wonder. I know it's not the same thing, but the Mavericks had Jalen Brunson. They had Luka Doncic. They had pieces. They decided to hit the big red button, as Ian said, but they threw it the complete other way, and the Thunder did it this way. I'm not sure how you even – it's not just Nico Harrison. It's even the stuff at the top. I don't even know how you figure out how that works, but then you think about the Thunder on the other end, and it's just – I can't even wrap my head around it.
I mean, neither. The Mavericks are thinking short-term game. I think the Thunders are thinking long-term game at the time of hitting the red button. And
Oh, my bad.
Yeah,
we were back.
as we're approaching the third period, do you mind, John, do you mind closing it out?
Sure, if that's okay with you.
All right, because it's your return to the booth. Take this out of a bag.
Okay, so you can lead off here in the third, and I can close it, or I can take the whole third. I don't care.
All right. All good either way. So it's all amazing about the whole pushing the big red button, and in completely different ways. As the Mavericks, they took it on the short end side, Thunder on the long range side. Here we go. Third period. Only goal. Josh Manson, he has goals in back-to-back games. For the Stars, it's the fourth time this series in which they were scoreless through 2 periods, as far as it is to believe. One of those, they won in overtime, which was game 3 of this series with Jamie Benn and Tyler Seguin, the former faces of the franchise, getting the goals in a 2-1 overtime victory. We'll see how this one plays out to the end. From the left place, drop behind. Coming on is Nathan MacKinnon as he comes to tie and scores! Nathan MacKinnon finally gets on the board in Game 7!
Nate Dogg with his 7th of the series now in Game 7, as Alex said, big for number 29. And we were talking about, can Dallas find a way to get that momentum into the dressing room, reset? Looks like they did not hit the reset button. This is almost like the Wyatt Johnston goal from the start of the other game.
Which one are you talking about? The Seattle one or the Vegas one?
Oh, I know. There's a couple of them.
There is a couple that he takes this himself, does a solo effort, drives around the Dallas defense, and puts it in backhand, forehand on Jake Ottinger. Dallas needs a pulse. They've had just 10 shots through 2 periods. His first career goal in a Game 7 as his puck goes out of play, and once again, it's his first career Game 7 goal in his 5th attempt.
I don't want to celebrate too quickly because, again, I do have the Avalanche winning the cup. I said I made that known. But Nathan MacKinnon, as he just drives, this one squeaks through Jake Ottinger. Yes, you can't have Nathan MacKinnon with a drive-by right at the net, but Ottinger's got to have that puck, Alec.
He's got it. He looked short side, and I thought that he looked the far side. Sometimes the shot angles can fool people out. Here come the Stars. Do they have a pulse? Rope hits. That shot's blocked by who else? Cale Makar. Their Bobby Orr comparisons reigning true for the best defenseman in the NHL, who's delighted with his second Norris Trophy of his career. As Cody Ceci clears this one out. And as such, Dallas will have to reset. This Stars team is too talented to go out in the opening round. Blues and Jets, Game 7 tomorrow. And as I am making the announcements, Liam Mitchell sends one towards Kenzie Blackwood as this loose out in front, picked up by the Stars, cross side towards the right circle, and Kane shot down by Mackenzie Blackwood.
Man, he was spinning like a top there, Alec. This first shot opportunity as Duchesne got robbed, bounced up in front of the net as Rantanen was providing the screen. It pops up into the air, and as Rantanen sends it across, what an excellent glove save for Mackenzie.
He flashed the litter there. And while Jets Blues tomorrow is going on, I guess I'm put into a dilemma here between that and Rockets Warriors. Guess I might have to do one or the other because there's no going back from here. Right behind the nets, the Stars pick it up, but it's still in their own zone as the Avalanche are driving. Backhand around, slowed down was Drouin. He is right behind the crease, and then coming out in front. Known as Parker Kelly, he visited Jack Drury. In front, couldn't find Logan O'Connor. He's still with the puck. Several stick taps on the way between Petrovic and Thomas Harley. Petrovic's still out there. It's a tangle up behind Ottinger's crease. And finally, the puck comes free or Harley. It was out there for several seconds in no man's land. Harley, around Kiviranta, the former Star, set up pass. It was intercepted by one of the Stars, and it's a 2-on-2 with speed for Kiviranta. They drop off for Coyle, back around for Kiviranta. And now, this is set back for Druin to the right point, Manson. He's got the opening goal. Lindgren. This has been a shutdown pair between these two. Jared Bednar likes to put these two together for defensive situations. Coyle gets tied up, so is Druin. Back to the right point, Manson. Manson fires one. Ottinger couldn't locate it. It's both free, and out pointing inside at the left point is Druin. Lifts one down. To Gretzky Southpass is Coyle, hounded by Harley. Tied up at the near corner and taken away by Oscar Bach. Bach. Through Go to near side boards. Backhands it down deep. Standing there at the near corner is Rantanen, the ex-Ab. Bach takes it away. Bach gets all tied up. 0-6 there. Bach. And good and shot trajectory adjustment by the Avs defense as the Stars get this one out of play off a stick, but excellent defense by the Avs.
Yes, it was, and as you mentioned there for Oscar Bach, as they get another look there on the Duchesne, Robert, and Blackwood, he was almost up a one-on-one. He tried to bounce to the Avs defense and get a chance toward the left post. Dallas looking for a hero.
They need one right now. They've won the last two Game 7s by a score of 2-1. That's not going to be the final score here. But of course, we have our final score predictions being 3-2 Avalanche, Johns in regulation, mine in overtime. Alec Nava and I on the play-by-play, John, I, and Genji on the color here. But in the first half of the third period, as the Stars are holding on to this puck, the Avalanche looking to complete a Colorado sweep of Game 7s with the Nuggets winning earlier tonight. This bounced off the near corner onto Blackwood, who covers.
Yeah, it's crazy. And you mentioned this in real time, and I got to give you full marks, Alec. After that goal from Josh Manson, you mentioned that air got sucked out of the building and then taken away from the players as far as their energy. But Colorado seems to have taken complete control of this game. And I remind everybody, now it's just a 2-goal game. It's still right there for the taking. Dallas has got to find something.
With the fours that Alain Nasruddin is working with, and Alex Petrovic, who is out there with Thomas Harley. So Petrovic is getting more of the offensive-minded minutes up at the top pair with Harley. I don't know if breaking up Harley and Labushka is the right call, but keep in mind, this is a team without Robertson and Heiskanen. Dumped at the near side by Gabe Landeskog. Petrovic breaks that one up. Go to near side boards down the seam. Too far for Graylis is picked up by Lindgren. From 155 to another. Manson moves it up through the middle. Picked up by Landeskog. Manson going to get a hold on that. Harley drops it back. Nothing doing there for hits. And the Avs will take it up the far side of the boards. Lehkonen gets tied up on the firing inside. Harley gets smashed to bits. And then back, the Stars will move this one up on a glove down by Rantanen. Rantanen wants to revenge on his former team. Up the far side, all tied up by Lindgren. Fired back through center by the Avs and picked up by Esa Lindell. Lindell flips it forward and chopped for further to Marchment. It made its way to Blackwood, who moves it to Manson. Firing down the far side. And it's out of play. In the regular season of the playoffs, the Stars have no multi-goal comeback wins in the third period.
That is something to think about. It actually makes me wonder, too, Alec, how many times was Dallas playing from behind in the third period? Because they're not used to this.
They're not. While Colorado, they've been playing from behind in certain games. And while one of the games I covered, they actually blew a 3-0 lead and lost to the Oilers in the regular season. This face-off is won by Colorado. But there are certain times in which Colorado has been playing from behind, and they made the comeback entering the third period. Stars taking back up. They need something here. Duchesne back to the near corner. Mackenzie Blackwood holding on to a 13-save shutout. The defense in front of him has been excellent. From the near half force is probably freed by the Avs. Logan O'Connor at the fourth line do the job of getting this one out. And this will go all the way down for Ottinger. We'll play this one behind for Mason Marchment, not Thomas Harley. Marchment cut off by Coyle, the ex-Bruin. The Weymouth native dumps it in right behind Ottinger's crease, playing it for Cody Ceci, the ex-Oiler, ex-Senator. Up the far side, Drury ties him up, and then back deep, sticked away by the Avalanche for Coyle to pick it up. Sent up for the middle for Toews. Toews at the left point, top of the left circle. Kicked out by Ottinger. Played it out behind, and then held inside the top right circle by Makar. Then back around for Nichushkin. Shoved once, able to hold it at the blue line. Nichushkin backhands one deep, and picked up at the corner by Landeskog. Nichushkin also there. Pick back up at the left play. Here's Josh Manson. See guy shot. Ottinger. Through traffic, shuts it down.
And Landeskog gives a little bit of an extra shove there alongside for Liam Bishwell. I wonder if Dallas can use some physicality to try to turn some things around. But Jake Ottinger, I can make the obvious point here, Alec. He cannot give up anymore.
He cannot add any more goals because he's the last line defense. And sometimes Dallas has put up efforts in which they've left him out to dry, and he can only do so much. But if we're being serious, stopping that goal from MacKinnon, be serious.
Oh, he's had no chance on either one of them.
Yeah. No chance on either one of them. He can only do so much. Thomas Harley with the second highest average ice time in the playoffs at 28-19. That's only behind shocker, and I mean this in the most genuine way, is an actual shock. Brian Dumoulin of the New Jersey Devils. Up front, the far half boards, race for the puck was picked up by Harley. Team leader in ice time, second in the NHL, as aforementioned, and Harley goes down to eight, and he's slow to get up. That's their workhorse, and the play stops to account for the fallen soldier.
He got hit hard in toward the right side boards. Thankfully, he popped back up. Looks like he might have got the wind knocked out of him near that right side red line.
Oof. And I don't know if it's minimal, but it seems to be minimal contact. I think he just lost his footing, and then he slips up. That might be an ankle.
Yeah, and I think Landeskog made the right play. You know, some guys finished their hit. Landeskog did the best he could to brace and not paste the defenseman there.
And so as we go to break, Harley seems to be okay, but that's a smart thing to do, especially for the team captain. Because from what I saw in Game 4 between the Panthers and Lightning, what Nico Mikkola did to Semgus Girgensons was completely uncalled for. How that was not a suspension for Mikkola was beyond me, because Nazem Kadri got suspended for doing the same thing, and so did Nikita Kucherov.
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that, because when I threw that tweet out there, I was like, there was no way he shouldn't get at least a couple of games for that. For him to not even get anything, that was, I'm not going to say assault, but that was just a borderline. That's got to be a game or something.
Yeah, at least a game. Maybe at least 2 games for Mikkola, because that was the suspension that Aaron Ekblad got. If what Ekblad did to Brandon Hagel was a 2-game suspension,
right?
Because Mikkola, what he did was more of a blatant attempt to injure than what Ekblad did to Hagel.
I completely agree. So there was a lot of things that we could talk about in the first round for Department of Player Safety. The main thing, again, you're playing a sport where the salary cap's going up another 6.5 over the next 3 years. The NHL's in a good spot, but in order for it to remain to stay in that great spot, you got to keep these players healthy and upright and stop the cheap shots, because that was one.
Yeah, those were 2 cheap shots, and the definition of such. That does not belong in the National Hockey League, and the Panthers need to clean that up. And they need to for this series, because if Toronto gets on the power play because of the Panthers getting too dirty, they're going to make their pay.
And it's going to be interesting to follow that one along on Monday as I'll have the call. You got the NHL draft lottery before that. I'm just wondering how far the Red Wings will fall.
We might never know. It's faced out to the right of Oettinger, and MacKinnon takes it. Marty Nation spins around for the far side. Now at Gretzky's office. Mark the trapezoid comes back in front. And that bounced off the body in front. The rebound swept wide on the backhand by Lehkonen. He had an open seam and a deep shot. Open net on the right side. It was a little too late. Lehkonen's tap came back to MacKinnon as he picks this one up. Sustained zone time here, a premium here for the Avalanche. David buzzing in the opposite zone. Out front, bounce up Oettinger. Rebound loose. Prime free. As Dallas takes it up, as it takes a bounce off a high stick collected by MacKinnon, and the officials saw that high stick.
There was a chance about 15 seconds before that, Alec, near the right dot when the puck bounced off of MacKinnon's right skate. If it doesn't bounce there and he gets a chance to pick that up clean, there's no chance Oettinger even makes the save.
That would have been from bad to worse for the Stars. They're already having themselves a nightmarish game. Oettinger's doing everything here. Where's the scoring going to come from?
Right.
But this is not exactly a repeat of Game 1. But if it comes out like this, it's just a mixture of Game 3 and Game 4, except it's the Avalanche being on the right side of everything, as with all the minutes adding up into the third period. This puck comes all the way back for Blackwood. Playing this one out is MacKinnon onto the left corner. And then all the way back it passes to Shea. Was not scoring this series. We're waiting for the time in which he strikes. Patrick plays it around Landeskog. Fires around for the far side of the boards. Got one up the near corner by the Avalanche, but it only makes it far away. It's all the way out as it went over Harley's stick. Comes down to Landeskog, right behind the blue lights. He fires it in. Almost was a chance of a 2-on-1 for Colorado. That's how much of a nightmare this has been for the Stars. Don't forget to go here in the third period. Goals from Josh Manson that's shorthanded and Nathan MacKinnon on a gorgeous goal. Now Nishushin is tied up at the near corners. Puck comes out to Dallas. They need life here. They desperately need it. It is Rantanen through the far side. Rantanen up on the high spot. Rantanen fires it and scores! Mikko Rantanen gets one back for Dallas.
And you said it right off your previous statement. In the mix of that game one, Colorado 2-0 lead, Rope Hintz able to score in a breakaway of sorts. This nothing like that is Mikko Rantanen. He's already scored a ton of goals for Colorado, now does so for Dallas with all sorts of traffic in front. A hellacious wrister as you get a good camera shot in sequence here. Cuts his way toward the middle, uses the screen. Blackwood could never track it. Top left bar down and in. Beautiful shot for Mikko.
So the shutout bid ends, but for Rantanen, that's his 8th point in the last 3 games, including tonight. He's been on a tear as of late in the later games of this series. 37th career playoff goal and his 3rd playing a Game 7 of his career. This is 4th game playing a Game 7. Played previously with Colorado 2019, 2020, and 2023. In 2023, he scored the only goal for the Avs in a Game 7. Now the Avs are up 2-1 as this goes back down to the Dallas zone. Rantanen so far is the only Dallas goal. They need a tying goal if they were to get their first comeback from down multiple goals and into the 3rd period. Up at the far side, this is carried up. So all up is O'Connor, fires, kicked out. A rebound loose. O'Connor there is flipped over to the far corner. Wyatt Johnston moves around. Evgeny Dadonov sends it up to the far side of the ice. Sam Girard shuts off Wyatt Johnston. Johnston's been a Game 7 hero before. That pass came out off a skate of an half. Held in by Harley, and Johnson comes back with this for what we believe is Dadonov. 70 passes to make it all the way through. Spinning around is Rantanen. There's up, a shot, and it's bounced off of Blackwood. Came back to Labushi at the top of the right circle. Down low was Mikko Rantanen, who spins around. Now down low up for Harley, and jumping up is Blackwood. This shot him off.
Well, you're looking for that answer. It was Mikko Rantanen, and then he all of a sudden ignites Dallas. There's their energy. There's the team we've been waiting for. Blackwood just gets a piece of it. Harley breaks through. He cannot corral off a rolling puck and allowed, because of that, Mackenzie Blackwood to make a save underneath the left pad.
Just swung and missed on a rolling puck. It took a bounce off his stick. Tried to one-time it, but couldn't fully get control as he goes up. And that look says it all. He's in full disbelief. 22:54 of ice time, 2 hits and 2 blocked shots. He's been a workhorse, and he's doing excellent filling in for the Miro Heiskanen role. Liam Bishop sticks it away, but the Avs keep this in the zone near side boards. Gabriel Runza, Game 7 overtime hero for Dallas 5 years ago. He's trying to be a hero for Colorado now. Kicks it back to Manson. And here's Lindgren, fires it deep. Bounced off a body in front. Drury tries to hold, and he does so. Right behind the net, controlling his Coyle. Coyle goes for a spin around hits. Dallas tries to pick it up by Kent. Fire back inside. Control, picked up by Petrovic, trying to get it out. The Stars desperately needing a clear. The Avs calling all over it. And as the Stars pick it up, take it away, John.
Stars now find an entry. Here's Rantanen toward the left side if they can get it there. Knocked away from Granlund. Dallas' season's on the line, but Mikko Rantanen's giving them life. It's 2-1 now. As it's flipped in here for Cale Makar. Everybody's standing here in Big D. As trying to go left to right for the Avalanche. It'll be Esa Lindell. Very good second line pairing defenseman. Shot board now reads 20-15. And the Stars have certainly found their energy. Lost 6 straight Game 7s to Colorado. 5 straight by a goal. It's been since 2002. On that says flip back around the inboards. Picked up now for the moment for Rantanen and Duchesne. He gets all tied up. Fans want a tripping penalty. They're not going to get one as I don't see a hand up. 9:20 left to go in the third. It's Tyler Seguin. It's got to be fresh. He's been injured for most of the year, but he's a definite game breaker. As this is taken down, and the Stars go ahead and play the puck, and now we finally will get a whistle at 9:11.
And it's not because of a Colorado penalty that Stars fans were hoping for. And to be clear, that one for Matt Duchesne was clearly a penalty. He tripped his man and knocked him down upright. Colorado with a 2-minute power play for Dallas. This is
And as we get set to go to break, I'm not saying you have to speak on it, gentlemen, but I'm just making a mention. So when Dallas had a power play, it was a shorthanded goal for Josh Manson. Colorado gets a power play up by a goal. Can Dallas manufacture a shorthanded goal is my question.
That's the big question, but we don't know because both of these defenses have been excellent. What say you, Ian?
At this point, it's the most important part is to kill out the penalty. If you think you have a shot, you take it. But here's the thing: the Blues in Game 5 thought they had an opportunity on a 2-on-1, and then Hellebuck stopped it by planting his stick in the ground. Here's the thing: if they fail on a fast break for a shorthanded goal, and the Avalanche get numbers, they are put in the most compromising position, and it relies on Otter to stop them. So if they think they have a shot, they better make it count. Otherwise, just stick to killing the penalty.
Again, we'll have to think about that a little bit more as we got a little bit over 9 minutes left to go in this third. Mikko Rantanen has made it a 1-goal game. For those that are just joining us or listening a little bit later, Mikko Rantanen, his third of the postseason from Oscar Bach and Ilya Lyubushkin at 7:49 was the latest. Josh Manson is shorthanded second of the playoffs from Logan O'Connor at 9:50 of the second, 31 seconds in, as Alec called it. Excellent goal for Nathan MacKinnon, able to work his way toward the left side dot, sneak it in short side of the left post past Otter from Lindgren and Val Machushkin, who's continued to have a good postseason. Jake Ottinger, nothing wrong with him, 18 of 20, 14 of 15 for Blackwood. Avalanche really need to score on the power play. They're just 3 of 21 in this series. Necas has this in behind the net directly of Jake Ottinger. Now Nathan MacKinnon toward the left side dot. It's Cale Makar, walks in, does not shoot. And Gabe Landeskog, this pass bounces off his left skate. Cale Makar trying to save this one back here for the Colorado captaincy and Landeskog. And this will be flipped back down easily by the Dallas Stars. And again, I mentioned this for Cale Makar with just the 1 goal off the empty netter. I'd like to see him shoot. I'd like to see him actually hit the net when he shoots. He's got 50 shot attempts, but I just feel like he never hits the net when he does. Nathan MacKinnon off the drop now for Gabe. Must be kept at the line for the left point for Makar. High slot now. MacKinnon works his way. Little dipsy doodle as this one is knocked away toward the left side line. Picked up now by Landeskog into the corner. This is Cale Makar. Now for MacKinnon toward the left side. MacKinnon toward the left side blue line. Just holds it in. Landeskog back to Makar. Broke his stick. And now the Stars might have something. Makar playing without a stick. It's Rupa Hintz. He gets tripped up. No call. We play underway. Nathan MacKinnon, and now we get a whistle. That's got to be called against the Avs.
Oh my goodness. That's going to be a call against the Avalanche. A tripping penalty, as I believe that's Marty Necas who's down in the midst of the scuffle. And a tripping penalty is going to be called because Makar played on a stick. It's 4-on-4, and Dallas has a lot of room open up. And now, not only does Colorado go down a man, the concern now is with Necas. He's grabbing that hand. He seems to be banged up.
We got to see a look at it now as Makar. We got the slapper, broke his stick completely. Rotten luck. Rupa Hintz, he gets kind of a knee on knee there. He had nowhere else to go. The Avs just try to funnel, and all of a sudden, again, I didn't really get a chance to see it in real time. Necas, he just falls into the left side boards. Again, 4-on-4, 47 seconds, but the Avs might be down a forward for a while.
Yeah, for a while, and now Dallas must score on the 4-on-4 if they were to tie this one up. And for Cale Makar, I don't know what else he could do there because he was without a stick. He tried to get in the way with his skate. I don't know what he could have done defensively.
That's what the tripping call was. A little bit of a knee there against Rupa Hintz. Again, he had no stick. Granlund going to take this draw. Offensive zone one for the Victory Green. This goes back to the Avalanche, but it is contested. Ryan Lindgren is shoveled into the corner now. Stars try to settle it down, and alongside Samuel Girard. Girard now will race with Val Nichushkin, the former Star. There's been a lot of former Stars, a lot of former Avs in between both sides. This is a Game 7 and this series will end today. Winner is going to get the Jets or Blues. Deflected in front of the Stars' defense and able to make a goal line stand was Essa Lindell. Now for Sam Girard, 7:25 left to go in this third. 4-on-4 for about 10 more seconds. And then Dallas will get an abbreviated man advantage. Mikko Rantanen's got the only goal for the Stars. MacKinnon scored very early into it. Here's a wrist for good save, 5-hole. Picked up now for the Avalanche. Again, they can flip this back into their own end and kill some time. It's a 1:05 power play left for the Dallas Stars. 7 minutes left to go in the Stars' season, should they not score another goal. Thomas Harley, Wyatt Johnston. He's no stranger to being clutch. Rope hits into the right side corner. Wyatt Johnston across the bumper. He gets taken away from the puck. Good pressure here for the Avs. Try to race for it now. Off a 1-on-2 shorthanded. A little bit of a waste the other way as Rope Hintz now picks up the puck. Racing across the right wing. He's got Johnston on the opposite side of the ice. Shoveled in the corner now. Manson, a little inside out against Duchesne. Duchesne wins the puck, but Harley can't hold the line. 20 seconds left to go on the abbreviated man advantage. Mikko Rantanen, who's got the latest. Rantanen now, 1-on-3. Rantanen up the gut. Wraps around, he scores! Mikko Rantanen, are you serious?
Oh my goodness. He faked a wraparound and put this right on the back of Mackenzie Blackwood's skate. The Dallas Stars will have not had a multi-goal comeback entering the third period. Oh my goodness, all the implications. Mikko Rantanen takes this behind the net, puts it, I believe, one hand on the stick. A solo effort as he picks it up and then puts this right around. It may have backed it off of Girard's skate. The wrong place at the wrong time for Girard as he tried to pick that one up. Just rotten luck from Girard, but at the beneficiary of Rantanen there. Ooh.
So Makar goes for a slapper, breaks his stick. It's a tripping penalty. Stars get a power play. Rantanen skates off a 1-on-3, gets through the Avs defense, and on his route banks it off of Sam Girard. If Colorado didn't have any luck, it would all be rotten luck. It's tied at 2. 6:10 left to go in the third. We will indeed at least get to a 3-2 scoreline, whether it is OT or regulation, but I think Alec and I might have at least called the scoreline. 6th all-time in the playoffs is Mikko Rantanen in points per game at 1.25 as this one goes into the benches.
Now Dallas is on their feet. Mikko Rantanen is energized right now. And we are not sure what is going to happen from here on out, but Denver's getting a little anxious. They saw their Nuggets defeat the Clippers earlier tonight, but now there's doubt in Dallas for Avs fans.
It took a while for Mikko Rantanen in between Carolina and now with Dallas for him to activate as much as he has. But in between this game 5, 6, and 7, this Mikko Rantanen that we're seeing emerging, we've seen him a lot with Colorado, has got to be making the Avs quake in their boots a little bit.
Yeah, that's now 9 points ever since the start of Game 5 for Rantanen. It's unreal for him.
So, superstars playing like superstars. Mikko Rantanen with a pair in this third. It's MacKinnon and Rantanen with the goals. Now his fourth from the power play from Harley and Duchesne. And this game is all square. It is 21-16 on the shot board for the Avs. 23-24 hits. Stars have the edge there. Face-offs now. Colorado Avalanche pulled ahead 23-19. But this comes in waves because Alec and I mentioned this, and I thought it was apropos. After that shorthanded goal from Josh Manson, there was about 12, 13 minutes or so where the Stars only had 2 shots on goal. They went 9.5 minutes without one. They looked completely dead in the water. And when Rantanen scored that goal to make it 2-1, all of a sudden now the Stars got all the life that they needed. And the Stars might have enough energy, Alec, here to just close this series out tonight.
They might. With the depth that they have, the forward depth is super stacked on Dallas. Colorado, they need to go back to what worked in games 1, 4, and 6. They need to look back to that and think back to what has worked in those games, because what they're doing right now, ouch.
Yeah, and gentlemen, I gotta put this out here. So Here's the Colorado Avalanche. You've been leading for 2 periods of this game, and in just one period, Dallas, one guy, not the Stars, one guy has tied this game up, and add insult to injury, it's the guy you traded at the trade deadline. So, or when trade season was open. So, I gotta wonder, how salty do you think they are right now?
And there's going to be a lot to decide. They're going to be even more salty here if they end up getting punched home away by the Dallas Stars. But again, to your point, Ian, he was traded back from Carolina to Dallas back into the Central Division, so you're going to be seeing him an awful lot.
And by that, we are seeing an awful lot. He's got 2 goals tonight. But imagine, if it's another hat-trick overtime winner for Rantanen, he's got 4 goals in his Game 7 career. I swear.
The energy has come from somewhere. Mikko Rantanen has supplied it. It's energized the players and the fans. You kind of feel like Dallas now can be on the right edge of it. It's a shame considering for Colorado how well they played, but there was some bounces, but Colorado had some bounces in Game 6, to be fair. That's the way it goes. You got to make your own puck luck now, and you got to find a way to fight through all the noise, finish it off. If you're Dallas, you get reinforcements back. And if you're Colorado, all those moves you made, especially you fix your goaltending tandem, you get Lindgren, everything else, you had some other forwards, you get Necas, you made all these moves for this push. You don't want it to end right now. Mikko Rantanen's got the puck and near the left side corner. He's just shovel this ahead and alongside for Bischel. Landeskog now waiting toward the left side. Doubt Mason Marchment will play some point duty as this one's pushed in the corner away from Charlie Coyle. This will go D to D near the right side, bounce off of Manson's skate. 4:23 left to go in the third. Mikko Rantanen with a pair of goals. Save Blackwood.
And it was Tyler Seguin at the slot. It was wide open. You cannot give the puck away at your own zone. Josh Manson made a mistake in doing so. He thought there was a clear lane for him to fire down the far side of the ice. Nope, there was a Dallas Star keeping that one inside, or immediately found the open Seguin at the slot. You cannot give up premium shooting opportunities here if you're Colorado.
No, you can't. Seguin has already played here on one of this. You know, he's done that a lot with Boston, as you mentioned. He's very good at it. Here's another chance. This will go wide and toward the left side line. We get another whistle at 4:13. Are we getting another penalty against the Avs?
Jack Drury is going to the box for 2 minutes.
Oh
my goodness. Colorado's taking too many self-inflicted wounds here in this third period. It's one too many because they're just carelessly going after their opponents, and it's not helping them any matters. Dallas has an opportunity to get a second power play goal and make Colorado's shorthanded attack pay.
I'm not saying it's going to be Mikko Rantanen scoring again for his hat trick, but that's just a silly penalty tie up there for Drury, who just slammed Seguin down to the ice. But I certainly will say it now. I think Dallas is going to score.
That's a WWE style move. That's only reserved for that league. Come on, that does not belong in the NHL.
Rope Hintz now wins it. Thomas Harley straddles the line. Harley's got it near the right side for Mikko Rantanen. Rantanen's already got 2. Crowd's already on their feet as well. Number 96 sends it for the shade. One more! Scores! It's Wyatt Johnston!
Are you kidding? It can't be that guy again. Are you serious? Wyatt Johnston banks it top shelf and gets the Stars to lead. Gets Blackwood to open up. Finds a space at the top quarters. And at this current rate, our brackets are going to be busted.
Absolutely.
Hey guys.
Yep.
Okay. Different sports, but it involves a Texas team. Why are the Avalanche collapsing like they are the 2015 Texas Rangers against Toronto? I mean, geez, all we need is Mikko Rantanen to flip his stick. All we need is a Dallas player to flip their stick after scoring a goal for a stick flip. For anyone who gets that reference.
All I'm thinking about is walk-offs there when you think about Jose Bautista with a bat flip, because that's what it looks like Wyatt Johnston just did to the Colorado season. Wyatt Johnston's done it again. Game 7 game winner in 2023 second round is Lehkonen now trying to find it. And all of a sudden, the Avalanche only have 3:30 left in their season. Makar walks in, does not shoot, he wraps it around, and this one knocked away. Esa Lindell. Lehkonen taken down and behind the play. Avs desperate to hold it in. This came almost out of nowhere now. Dallas got 3 goals in the third. Colorado was up 2-0 to essentially start this third period. 22-18 on the shot board. Again, the winner is going to get the sense of the Jets and the Blues. This will be played by Oettinger, but Dallas will get reinforcements. And as I mentioned, is picking up Tampa and Colorado. I might get both of those wrong, but I did throw this out there. Between Florida and Dallas, I think the winner, whoever gets it, is going to go all the way to the Cup Finals. And Wyatt Johnston, none bigger than this at the moment.
The Rufus came off this building. He was way open at the bottom of the left circle and just banked his top shelf. And the moment that Matt Duchene sees that he's closed up, he goes to the open man. A pension for the dramatic. And Colorado, you cannot make those mistakes again here for the rest of this period. Now your season's on the line, and you've got to find a way to solve Artturi here in this third period because he's been on one.
Well, Alec and I might have got the scoreline right with 3-2, but now we got the opposite team. This really did come out of nowhere for Dallas, but as I've said, even without some of their top gunners, they played so well throughout this series, and that's the one thing. They're going to get more in the tournament, and I don't know who's deeper. This is just picked up now. And toward the right side boards, it's Thomas Harley. He's all tied up. We'll see who gets some more time. They got to get Nathan MacKinnon back out on the ice. Josh Manson into the traffic. This bounces off of Drury. He is destroyed near the right side boards, and this is not kept in. Sent back down now for Sam Girard. Shockingly, 2:10 left to go in this game 7, and Dallas up 3-2. This is picked up now near the right side boards. Here's Nathan MacKinnon. MacKinnon now. He loses it toward the right side. Send it back around the end boards, trying to find it in some skate plays. It's Esa Lindell. Jared Bednar has pulled Blackwood. Colorado season's on the line. They cough it up right at the blue line side. Dallas still with it. And this one's gloved down across center ice. It's Artturi Lehkonen. Now trying to get it to Necas, who's back out there with an injured hand. And this will be knuckle puck down by Oettinger. He quickly will play it. 90 seconds left to go in this game. Dallas Stars might do it again, just like they did against the Vegas Golden Knights not that long ago in Game 7. Picked up now for MacKinnon off the outside. Now toward the right side, here's Makar. Take it D to D. Here's a pass that gets fumbled for a moment. Dallas's defense is set. 1:15 left to go in the third. MacKinnon needs help. Near the right side red line. Landeskog's wide open. The ref didn't get out of the way as that puck bounced. Landeskog now waiting. Makar just holds the line as everybody's standing. It's down to 60 seconds. Colorado can't find anything. They shove it around the end boards. Here's opportunity for Necas into the traffic, and Oettinger makes an easy save.
The roof is exploding here at American Airlines Center. They have energized this Dallas crowd. All of a sudden, Colorado's forced to the outside. The defensive structure of the Stars penetrating this Colorado attack. They're giving them nothing at the slot, nothing at the net front. And in Game 7 history, a 3 multi-goal third period comeback wins. The last time involved the Boston Bruins and the San Jose Sharks. And when the first time was called Julius Bruins in 2013. And ironically, the last time to involve a multi-goal comeback involved a Peter DeBoer coach team.
Hey guys, I have a new take, and I know the playoffs have already started, but if the Blues win, I'm sticking with the Blues. But if the Jets win tomorrow, Peter DeBoer, screw it. Peter DeBoer will get his Stanley Cup business.
You know what? In between the Florida Panthers, again, I said I think that's the only team that's going to stand in their way.
Looks to be the case. And Mikko Rantanen, as we see them, Spencer getting the cameras south to get your team into watch their team here. 52.7 to go in the Avalanche season. and all of a sudden, these fans are loud. It's over 105 decibels here. Season on the line here for the Avs, 6-on-5.
So the Ball are trying to go 9-0 now in Game 7s. The Avalanche haven't won a Game 7 since 2002. If they lose, that would be 8 straight. That would be an NHL record that they don't want. Here's an offensive zone draw. Landeskog, stutter step, Makar, deflected. This goes to the left side corner. Necas punches it out. The Landeskog, here's a shot, and Ottinger, no screen, makes the save.
There was nobody in the slot. You got to send people to the net and get people to redirect shots at the net. That time, Colorado played it too safe. Or either that or they got boxed out.
We're going to say it right now, but Mikko Rantanen in this next 41.1 might have just earned his paycheck for the year for the Dallas Stars because he was pumping it to the Avalanche. 3-2. Necas now off the tie-up. Picked up to MacKinnon. Now back to Necas, MacKinnon, Makar. Now Nathan MacKinnon near the right side. Dot has no shooting lane. Dallas, excellent work on their forecheck. 25 seconds, Makar. Landeskog with a shot. This one missed it all. Colorado keeps it in. 15 seconds into their season. It's MacKinnon. Glove save, Ottinger.
And he shows the crowd the puck that he says, I got it. And it was a what as well. So it was an even more dangerous chance there for the Avs, but Ottinger stayed calm, cool, and collected. And he made the security save. And Robert Nichushkin seemed to have deflected that one inside. He had his body right on him, too.
That was pretty good positioning. Even better save for Jake Ottinger. If Dallas gets through this, I mean, that is incredible considering what they haven't had. Here's another face-off. It's won by the Avs, but it's contested. Opportunity now near the right side. Dot down to 8 seconds. Dallas gets it out. They're going to score again. It's Rantanen with a hat trick, and this series is done.
Game 7 to set the all-time NHL record for most wins without a loss in a Game 7. As the Avs can only stare on the bench as their former superstar gets his revenge on them. You should have paid me, he says, and he gets their revenge showing his money's worth. 10 points in the final 3 games of this series.
Unreal.
In Game 7, pure domination by Nico.
He has silenced every doubter, including myself at some point, during all those trades and moved to whether or not he was worth it. Again, he's still 28 years old. He signed for 8 years.
$12 million per year as well. And he showed he's well worth the money. And as the Avs can only look on this third period, showcase majesty. Mikko Rantanen with a solo effort showing that yes, Dallas, he is indeed a superstar, and you can put him over at the top 10 category in the NHL. And this game, with his first career playoff hat trick to wrap up this first round series, and from one Texas team to another, the Avs come raining down. Tomorrow, see if the Rockets can do the same thing and putting away the Warriors and slicing some demons. But what a moment it is for Rantanen. What a moment for the Stars. They're going to march on to a second-round date with either the Jets or the Blues.
And I know there's a lot to consider between the Jets and Blues, and the main thing they're worried about is figuring out who wins their Game 7. They're not even thinking about who they're playing next. But I have to imagine, gentlemen, as we could talk in the open, I don't think there's anybody that wants to play against the Dallas Stars.
I don't think so. As long as they remain upright, because this is a series that was conference finals-like.
Yes.
And it looked to be that way. The better team won by forward depth, by structure, and by goaltending. Dallas showed all of us that they are the team to beat in the West.
The puck is dropped, and it is all over. The Colorado Avalanche get eliminated in the first round again by Mikko Rantanen.
Oh, but the revenge tour is successful. and Jake Ottinger delivered a masterclass in those closing minutes. But not only him, Rantanen finishing with 4 points, a hat trick, and an assist. He had the secondary one on the Johnston game winner on the power play as the fans applaud him and get the confetti out. I was miscalculating. Entering this game, he had 7 points in the previous 2. With 4 tonight, he started out with 1 point in the first 4 games. Finished it with 11 in the final 3.
That is otherworldly. And number 96 getting a bunch of stick taps. That handshake line, I imagine, has got to feel a little awkward.
I feel so too, but if MacKinnon gives a deep hug to Rantanen, I would completely understand. Both are close teammates, and both were teammates previously, but I would imagine these two are still friends and talk to each other.
Well, gentlemen, I will say this. There's one more thing before I make the announcement, because the game wasn't too long, so I can do that. But we know Dallas moves on, and I think we all pretty much said, even Ian agrees, that we think Dallas is going to go at least to the Stanley Cup Final. It's going to be hard to pick. Oh, I lost both my picks from the first round from this 2-3 in between the Cats and the Bolts and this and that now. But Colorado made a ton of moves. Chris MacFarland and Joe Sakic deserve a ton of credit for able to get this team where they are. But again, you got to play against the Dallas Stars. But again, this is another disappointing season for the Avalanche considering what they are. And Jared Bednar, again, loses a Game 7. They lose in the first round. I'm not saying Jared Bednar is not a good coach, but at some point, maybe even after next season, you might have to consider making a move behind the bench.
Well, so a quick history lesson for our listeners right here. And now, what I'm about to say, you're going to think is lies and other than that, but it was not but 8 years ago where the Colorado Avalanche were the joke of the NHL. There, as one person put it, the on-ice product was completely trashed. Next to nobody gave a flying F on the ice. And one of the top scorers was a man by the name of Remade. NHL historians might recognize that name. Jared Bednar was looked at as anything but a head coach, and Joe Sakic was another product of the boys club, who eventually turned it around because Pierre Dorian made one of the most lopsided trades in recent NHL history. So but since that time, they won a Stanley Cup and choked in the playoffs year after year after year. Fellas, why is this sounding like a repeat of Boston?
Oh boy.
Don't give me flashbacks.
I mean, guys, I'm not wrong. I mean, look at the trajectory they are on. Trash, choke. Stanley Cup, choke. That has been their path for the past 8 years.
Yeah. It's been rough because you know how good this team is, and Alec, you know all the moves they made put them to the point where they're supposed to be in deep contention. Look, I understand 2-3 formats, and I can punch that enough can be difficult, but the Avalanche are a team that's supposed to have deep runs and have aspirations of winning multiple Stanley Cups when you got guys like MacKinnon and Makar.
Yeah, they had superstars on their team. They have a loaded roster on their team, but something seems to always get in their way. The last 2 years, they've been top-heavy. They look almost unrecognizable from the Stanley Cup run that they've had. This year might have been their best shot with the current core that they've constructed. Well, and even though they came up short, they got a complete team around them finally at last. But there's only one thing that it came down to in Game 7: discipline. They were very undisciplined in the third period.
Yes.
And it bit them.
Absolutely. I want to say one thing before I close it out. Again, it's my apologies to both you, Alec, Ian, and Cooper Hopkins that I haven't been around as much as I would like to because of the Sharks duty, and then I spent about 2 weeks as far as house sitting for my cousin away from everything, so I haven't been able to get in on the cast. But as it is a second round, I'll start that on Monday with the Panthers and the Leafs. And Alec, with your blessing again for the second year, I would like us to be able to frontline the Stanley Cup Finals. Are you cool with that?
Let's do it.
Okay, so we're going to have that penciled in as well. I don't plan on missing that many more games. Probably get to about 3 or 4 a week. The only other announcement I had to make was after the Cup Finals are done, again, Alec and I have about a 15 years difference between us, but that's about as long as I've been with Lauren. Her and I are probably going to get set to move in together. So I'm going to have to start getting my own stuff in from out of the house and with her. So I might be moving some things here and there, but I won't miss any of the stuff for the rest of the Stanley Cup playoffs.
Hopefully not, but down the line should be a very intriguing rest of the way here in the Stanley Cup playoffs. Ooh, and I can't wait for tomorrow. Jets, Blues, Rockets, Warriors. Let's go.
You guys have some fun. I'm wishing some good luck here for the Rockets and the Blues. And hopefully you don't have to sweat too much.
Hopefully not.
I'm gonna be sweating regardless. Listen. I will be sweating even if the boy is in blue have a 4-goal lead going into the third period because it is game 7, and I'll end with this. The bullshit is unbelievably real.
Hey, you never know. I mean, the Avs fans, from what Alex said, might be able to talk about some of it, but he's right. It was undisciplined that it's been their undoing, but you got to make your own luck. You got to make sure you hold for an entire 60 minutes. I think that was another reminder for all of us, and especially for the Avs, if you don't take complete control for the 60 minutes and you have yourself on the front foot, bad things can happen. And it's only fitting that Mikko Rantanen got the game-winning interview, as those two teams will be seeing plenty more of each other for seasons to come.
Oh, yeah. There's going to be a lot more meetings down the line, and it's not going to be the last one of them all here.
I will talk to you guys as soon as Monday. You have a good Sunday. I wish you victory and success. Guys, that was a lot of fun, but Mikko Rantanen calls game. Stars score 4 times in the third. They win this one 4-2. And for the Avs, they are left with more answers. For my bracket, it's completely busted. I had the Bolts and the Avalanche. They're both gone. That's what you can get when you play the Cats and the Stars. But I will say this, I mentioned that whoever wins in between the Panthers and the Stars, Avalanche, and Bolts, I do think they're going to the Cup Finals. Guys, I think we're going to get Panthers Stars in the finals. Stars are going to get Miro Heiskanen back. They're going to get Jason Robertson back. They've already looked good. They've fought through so much tumultuism. Everything else against the Avs, I don't think they're going to have a tougher matchup. I do think the Blues can make things interesting, but I think the Stars can handle the Golden Knights. They can handle the Oilers, and they'll handle whatever else between the Jets and the Blues, although I think the Blues can give them a run because I just have too much respect for what Jim Montgomery has done with that team of late. This was a lot of fun. I'll see you Monday for the Panthers and the Leafs. We will talk then. Peace. Have a good night, everyone.